right, okay.
Alright, guys, today we're gonna be watching
You got me. Why don't we go hang out with our casters, Monster D Face, Jacob PR. Let's see how they're feeling about group number 3.
For the third millionth time.
Yeah, thanks, Zeke. And you know what?
Yeah, guys,
I like it. It's easier said than done. Or when it's in the past, your games are over. Of course, Acorn can flex like that. I mean, talking about it though,
coolest stream on the entire planet. So yeah, man, this is the third time we're doing FNCS group stage 3. So yay!
And his entire trio just getting into that tournament style mode, the right mindset.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to remove
not just this group stage today, but the overall grand finals. If he
I'm gonna remove my root, but
yeah,
the username, and we are going to move the down
who's right in between some of that action up at Flooded Frogs, where OC.
Alright, we're good.
So I'm really interested in how Group 3 dynamic is gonna play out. There's a couple hot spots.
Alright, chat.
That are gonna,
can y'all hear it well? I hope so.
Here. And then you got the big name teams from this group that might just have an easy pass, but we've all seen how difficult that can be.
Alright, chat. Everybody lock in, bro. Let's see who's winning, chat.
I feel like there's only one mindset I have. That's Jacob PR.
I wait till like 5 minutes before the match starts. I ain't gonna wait 13. I'm not gonna wait 30 minutes for them to yap and stuff.
Now, win conditions. What do we need to do to make sure we earn a spot going to next week's grand finals? Let's begin easy with the threshold.
Okay.
Right? Where were those point thresholds?
I don't know why I brought this down, but anyways, yeah, chat.
Well, we've got some numbers for you guys. We've got Europe and
Europe.
So in groups 1, we can see the 189 of Europe versus North America, right? 165. What's interesting is it starts to kind of like get lower in that group 2. But then group 3 EU earlier was insane, so that threshold went way up. So how do you guys feel about these point thresholds? Do we think that number
we're hyped for
lower than 163?
Bro.
I mean,
who's winning, bro?
Got Peter Ball rolling around the lobby, taking up a lot of these points. Could it be lower?
It definitely is going to depend on how certain teams play out the group stages. We saw exactly what happened in Group 1, but I don't think it's going to be lower. Honestly, I think it's going to be around the same point. When you look at Group 3 and Group 1 comparatively, as far as FNCS experience goes, they're relatively similar. So I don't think we're going to see anything as drastic of a change like what we saw from EU.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely crazy. 202 points. And I think around 160 points today is probably what we're going to be looking for. Maybe even a little bit lower because, yeah, group number 3, only 219 FNCS finals appearances. If anybody remembers from yesterday, there was a total of 398 there, right? So definitely the least experienced group of the 3.
I already saw it.
The mid-match objectives, right? Rift Island and the Spires. I mean, if I'm looking at the Rift Island, I've got to just assume Peterbot's going to be up there as well. But if they could, go ahead, get an early VR and kind of find themselves next stepping to grand finals, Rift Island could be a path to victory, right?
I mean, there's so much value to this beyond the medallion and the weapon. You also just get a bunch of materials, an opportunity to kind of see where the rest of the lobby is in the map, opportunities for you to rotate and just take these tags as well. And I was actually looking at the winners that we had from groups 2 and 1. And
anyways,
game 1 and game 2 from group 2 were won.
Yeah, what's up, Shadow? I don't think you're gonna play in this group stage. I think it's only one group stage at a time, Shadow. I haven't seen them talk about you.
And then I was excited to see if the stats were the same for group 1, but 4 out of the 5 games.
Zero watching. Yeah, I kind of fell off, man.
Threw my stats for a loop, but regardless, obviously these mid-game objectives very valuable for our top trio.
I love falling off, you know.
They are very indeed, and lucky for us, there are not only.
Bro, my brother's telling me to watch a video for there. Shadow, what is the beautiful video he's talking about? Oh, we're talking about Clicks and Yamzo and Higgs. Wow, so cool.
And of course, Clicks, Higgs, and Yamzo taking full advantage of one of the spawns they were able to get their hands on. Obviously, we know the Spires.
I think they're talking about Peter Bartlett and a Brutal. I don't know.
Flies under the radar sometimes is using the Spire to actually upgrade your hero rank as well. So it's just this huge momentum shift for your trio if you're actually able to go.
Yeah, and then they get exotic items. GG's, they want to win the game. GG's.
Go ahead and use that momentum.
Exotic pump, yeah, they're winning.
You were almost very, very likely to have a very good game.
Yeah, GG's, man.
There's also not just that, right? Because it's also these POIs or the drop spots for a lot of these trios, right? What we saw out of the previous games is players that went out to get a victory royale. The 5th zone that pulled was actually like right next to their POI, right? So for some of these trios, they don't have to like worry about, oh, we got to make sure we rotate across the map or whatever. If it's close by, as you can see here, kind of on this list, Some of these are so close that you just gotta worry about like, okay,
bro,
hey, we're gonna
I'm
base
never
up and
clicking
everyone's gonna
any
come to
link
us.
from you ever again, bro. Why are you sending me rice
trying to get a
basement
secure
to
spot in center zone? If you don't, free surge for us.
Yeah.
This is gonna be it right now, where it's start of game number 1, Monster, to where there's 2 different win conditions. They broke it all down.
You guys
Win
can
a
barely
game,
hear
you get
them.
into the major grand finals, easier said than done, but the consistency through the top 5 and looking at both of the groups, it really takes only 3 really good games to get yourself within qualification range.
Yeah, and you mentioned one of the teams that we're looking at here, Dukes, Edgy, and Chance, right? This is kind of in the pre-show. We were warming up about this offline. I'm really interested to see how they're going to play out of the Brutal Boxcars. This is almost a surprise factor team. People sleep on what Dukes is capable of to see him kind of pop in, you know? We got a little wild card, a little underdog showing up here for Group 3 too.
Yeah, and I like that team as well, because we're not just talking about Dukes coming back. Maybe
if y'all enjoy the stream, everybody like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Yeah.
Championship-winning duo Edgy and a new teammate that he's playing with most of the season, most of the chapter.
Yeah, I was waiting. Come on, man. We're waiting for the battle bus. Yeah, they're already beeping, man.
Let's stop talk about if they have what it takes. Let's see what they got. Game 1 is ready. Let's jump right in.
Group 3, game 1. Let's kick this off one more time for the weekend before we get into the finals up ahead.
My butt loves yapping.
All of these other weekends of competition.
All right, everybody,
now let's just ride this battle bus on home. So, what do we want to keep focus on? Obviously, we got the Demons Domain Clash going down. It does seem like we do have those 2 teams landing there. Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold should be that standout.
Oh, we were watching Peterbot bet!
And I want to watch this kind of play out today, is how well Ritual has
bet, bro! Bet!
Seasons, right? I think he's really been the surprise factor for this trio.
Yeah, I
think
rightfully so. You know, the community put a lot of misdirected blame onto Ritual for that major 1. He pops off, comes back, they win major 2, and he's still performing at that high level. And then on top of that, he's taken streaming to a whole nother level. So he's trying to be that full package for the team. Uncontested fight over there. We were all faked out thinking they were going to have a battle at Demon's Domain, but rightfully so. Teams don't want to go ahead and test their luck early in game number 1.
I'm hyped right now.
On the other hand, is going to be contested. There's different layers already. One team having a high ground advantage.
All right, little early game action here at the Shiny Shafts. Apple Snake, Mathix.
Bro, Peterbot's playing bet, bro.
Play right now, just looking to kind of rat his way down, but things are going to simmer down right now as they just have the outside angles.
Yeah, this is kind of what happens here. This is where I start to begin a little worried for both of these trios, not just one. Because we saw it through not only Group 2 yesterday, but through Group 1. The longer fights like this go, the easier it is and the more risky that chance gets of that third party coming in. Apple putting down some good damage, but taking some himself. Still looting around. Hopefully he's able to get some shields out of that chest. But you can see the team that he was focusing on is just trying to hide as much of their visuals, as much as the audio, so that way he could look around, maybe get the jump onto one of these 2. Mathix on the other end. Oni's here as well, just trying to get as much space as possible. You see the very little resources that they have, so they're trying to make it all count. One of them's going to get knocked. Mathix gets cleaned up. Zank and Apple are forced to kind of back up and reassess the situation.
And it kind of works out, right? Here's the thing. North to the east to the south.
Respecting an Apple, good man.
Likely contested at this very moment, so they do fortunately.
Johnny Shafts contested.
Take this one the distance.
Another contested fight.
Teams just to the north possibly fighting. Here we have it. Little action happening right here between Kezi, Exotic, Tobes, and Heyy Delay and KSM on the other side. So other standoff type of situation here. One team's got the high ground, another one's got the low. Just off in the distance, you see Sid there. That's another team that's contested. So this entire kind of west/northwestern area, Jacob, is just fully congested here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the higher you build in these kind of drawn-out fights, that resistance phase where you talk about Seneto Camp and Osid can't easily put DMR shots over in that direction. So I like the decision for both of them to get off of that high ground, especially since there isn't a ton of loot over here, even when contested. So you have to figure out how you're going to play the rest of the game out if the fight does not go your way. So starting to farm up, get whatever scraps are left by, and think about a route is going to be a focal point of their strategy. But contested fights all along. Another one over here towards Utopia. This is the first one through the group stages that we're seeing at Utopia City being contested.
Yeah, Utopia, obviously a wonderful draw spot, but look at this kind of sneaky play. They don't even realize how much space there is between them and the trio, so this is a very much precautionary kind of rotate right now as they're trying to move through, get a little bit of high ground here, and likely scout for information first. They spent a lot of their early game farming up mats, though, too, so they are pretty well poised for a fight. We'll keep tabs on them. First, let's jump into Curly's perspective here, see how things are looking over at the Flooded Frogs. So alongside, of course, Cooper and Reed, like we talked about, they've had their drop kind of to themselves for quite some time. They can be back to the last major. Obviously, they played this general area very well.
Yeah, there's kind of just a lot of loot, especially uncontested at Flooded Frogs. Cooper's kind of doing what he does best. He kind of builds up over in the western direction as high as possible, and he usually shoots over in that side of the map towards the resistance base. You know there's contested fights there right out of the gate, so for him, that's easy and early surge, and the more you have in the early game, the more flexibility you're going to have to rotate around the map, especially if we get some of those drastic south pulls that we did see yesterday. Others not faring as well. You're seeing a couple of missed players on the team, duos running around, trios still hunting for some of those fallen players, and they have a huge advantage because they see them trying to dash away, but there's a little bit of a distraction. A whole nother team on the high ground of that mountain trying to get surge for themselves. It's gonna kind of draw them out by that team a couple extra seconds to get away.
Yeah, you could tell they were trying to key surf queue being used. Misform already down a couple charges, but the dashes are going to be the saving grace for that trio. Take a look here, though, of a sloppy fight for Veer, Ozone, and Noxy. Kind of split up between a couple different areas. Ozone, the weakest, kind of in the bulk fight here. Looks like Yusuf putting up a good fight, but got Phenom to kind of back him up right now. They're going all metal base. Okay, so they're willing to kind of base down for a second here, and like that's a telltale sign to the other trio. Go ahead and back off for a second here. Not sure we want to commit that much.
Yeah, and this kind of works out well because of what's going on at Utopia. Typically, it's those teams that kind of form that triangle and kind of shoot off surge in this direction, so there's a little bit more freedom for them to try to make a play, whether they want to get aggressive or simply just try to disengage. Jojo, Aoxy, and Pikes. I can see this team getting through consistency, especially if the zone favors their southern pulls. They do have the launch pad, a little bit of extra rotation. Timing has to be perfect, though, when you do use that. You just don't want to be floating through the sky for too long, especially when Demon's Domain is just right to the east. As Aoxy is just trying to spread out, get as much loot as possible. There's a lot of extra scrap all around. You see in a rare chest towards the back. He's checking over Canyon's Crossing. He knows teams are going to have to rotate out there eventually.
What's up, y'all? Chat, Peterbot is playing. Peterbot is playing in this tournament.
High ground advantage.
I'm just saying, what did I just say? They're in the core
island already claimed, so the medallion's going to go into the hands of Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold's trio here. This is already setting themselves up with a huge advantage kind of in this early game. A rank already established, a couple tags away from being S rank this early into the round as well. That's going to lock them a lot of loot here, Jacob.
It is, and it's kind of very, very dangerous. You're already seeing 2 mythics on the Peterbot. You know they have the 2 medallions, essentially kind of collecting them all. And this is where the rest of the lobby, you want them to win this game out, because not only frees up points around the map, but it frees up loot. Demon's Domain would then be open. The Rift Island, more and more chances of other teams to try to get up there. So really interesting to see how it plays out as Plasmafy Arsenic. They're going to get another elimination, just try to close out that side of the map. Death Sailed and Encrypted. Wouldn't say uncontested by any means, but over towards Crime City, and they made a quick rotation towards the north. They saw something in some of these early zones, Monster, that says, hey, maybe we should go towards the north, kind of put our eggs in that basket, and if we have to worry about rotating south, we're still rotating through familiar territory.
I'm getting invitations.
Yeah, I don't hate that call. That's
probably gonna hear the whole stream.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be chatting when I go AFK. So like, yeah, I'm gonna be live this entire tournament.
That same fight that we
since Peterbot's playing, they might get first.
Briefly took a look at before. But this is the resistance base now. Things kind of dragging on from deep into the zone, closer to the outer edge. Another reset happening for most of the kind of teams here. High ground squad's definitely the one with the advantage here as they've got the extra heals to work with, but Delay has to make a fast move here. He goes up.
Wait, Chad, did they go live for the last
and this is starting to dissolve quickly for him now. Sebi kind of gets the knock there. Delay is going to go ahead and get full finish here now. Not bad at all, but look at this. They're attracting Sinetto, sitting Cam. This is a team that just finished a fight with them as well, kind of earlier into the game, coming down from resistance base. So they're going to be here to clean things up.
Yeah, perfectly timed too. And I didn't see too many heals on either one of these trios outside of maybe one med kit, some bandages. Not enough for the whole team, I could tell you that much. So for OSID, Cam, Sinetto, as long as they have like a med miss smoke, chug jug, they should be a-okay to lurk around this situation. Even with the zone not too far off, it's still going to be very, very risky for them to try to disengage on out. And already you have a knock to the zone. That just goes to show how weak they are, how low on resources that they have. That's a huge sign of weakness.
Yeah, stop lagging, right?
Yeah, you saw right there, Sinetto actually grabbed the med kit from down low as well, so just denying those extra heals. But Alba's here to jump into the box. There goes this Siphon reward for his trio, so it's going to heal up Sebi now. In come Cam and Sid. Sinetto kind of looking for that side angle. Sinetto's got that high ground right over Sebi. No tags to be made, though. Sebi kind of bases down defensively there. And they do have a med miss to work with, so much more options here. They've got a few of them there.
When I did a clip form stream, I was lagging too.
Yeah, depending on how that fight went, how much XP they have, you can see that team kind of disengaging. Not necessarily OSID, Sinetto, and Cam, but the other one that kind of just finished with that fight. They're rotating down to one of those superhero crates. Hopefully they have the rank enough to unlock it. And that'll kind of probably get them the heals that they need as Nate Mathix is back on up along with Apple over back to Shining Shaft. You can kind of see their resources, the 3 eliminations it took and cost them so much material just to end that fight when they did. So they're gonna have to take some time to refarm back on up. And there's their first opening elimination onto Tobbs. He gets back to back. Well, might as well make it 3.
Stop right there, cleaning things up, adding up those points here. So they're off to a good start.
Oh crap, we're in a Peterbot fight. With edgy and all that type of stuff.
Here in the lobby.
Peterbot fight. Exotic.
Toe-to-toe. A chance on the wall there. Chance for it to back up for a second now. Got to put some respect on it. Great tag onto Duke there behind the wall, and Peterbot
fight chat.
Kind of demanding respect here as he's walking his way through the space.
Peterbot fight, Edgy.
Foreshadowing a possible
Edgy low.
grand finals fight if both teams couldn't make it that far. Brutal boxcars. Something Peterbot says he might be after. As they do have the upper hand in this fight by a long shot as well. Multiple angles, stealing away multiple builds, closing out on so many options that they have. Even Cold on one side, taking the charge by himself. Peterbot doing the same thing. He does have that exotic Yoink Outlaw shotgun, so he's going to pull players to him if he's able to hit that first. And if it's close enough, that second one for surely will get the knock.
Exotic shotgun does so much damage as well. You saw him just ripping shields off of anyone that gets touched by it. Look at how much respect he's putting on this gym here. You know, typically you'll see
make a prediction.
kind of clean his way all the way through, but no, taking his time here, just kind of
or who
easing
else?
his way into game 1, just really showing that.
Is Peterbot like the only pro in this game, or like what? I don't know.
I think it just might be the loadout difference. If they had a Sentinel, maybe they would be a little bit more aggressive, but only having 2 shots with the Outlaw, you have to be just a little bit more precise, which means you can't necessarily take the same risk, but I can only imagine how Edgy's feeling. Twin Fire on one side, Chance trying to take advantage, a little bit of drop on the Ritual. He's able to escape out. You're seeing the resource count, the materials getting very, very low from both of these teams in this fight, and the zone kind of pushing them on the edge. So all those teams on the north side will eventually end up in this position if this fight takes too long.
Edgy does have a misform to work with here too, so it's not like we can't completely disengage, but I think they're recognizing what's kind of happening here. Like, this is Peterbot's trio here. Still have dashes as well too, so they're pretty content with taking this fight to the very end. Peterbot holding Ritual. Now have to time to decide here as well. They're also running low on material, but so much more heals to work with.
Just look at the big difference. You see right now, Chance, top left, the superhero rank B. And now if we see it on the other side, Peterbot,
oh my god, Peterbot is not going to stop.
They're getting all the resources around the map. They don't have a singular elimination. That just goes to show how good not only their drop spot is, but how good taking these island objectives that Kelly was talking about to start the show. It's just more than just the loot. It's more than just the loadout. Because once they get to S+, that's just their final form. But Ritual is going to be the first one knocked. That's an opening there. Cold
Eddie's
there trying
not.
to alleviate the pressure. He gets not just one, but two different knocks right back. Chance goes down. Peterbot making sure to alleviate the pressure, and they strike to win that fight. Ritual being down is only a small hiccup in their game plan.
Ritual's dead, though.
Yeah, you saw how quickly Peterbot kind of collapsed inside, but Cold holding his own behind the cone there.
But
well played.
Dance like that, bro.
That's their first full set of elimination there. There's a team listening, walking in here now from the north side, though, so Cold and Peterbot here might be messing around, having fun, dancing in the box, but they do have to be careful. Take a look from Peterbot's perspective.
Banana.
Down through the cone, right behind
another
Chance there. He didn't even see him coming. Cleans things up pretty quickly.
I was going to say another E-Dance. Oh, we're watching another fight at, like,
seems to be coming to an 2v1 situation right now for Plasma 5.
Oh my god.
Tough spot to be in here and now.
Another fight. Nice loop.
Gets that much tougher.
Running around the cape, though.
Gets coned out, blocked off from trying to escape.
Sharp cube. Oh, he's low. Got probably those bandages.
I think that was the last shotgun shot, unless they traded any bit of ammo on the other side.
They killed one of them.
Been it.
I think they killed them.
Here nor there, because 49 still able to get that elimination.
35 MS is
even
not.
with the third party annoyance coming in, they're going to close that one out and kind of gives them a chance to get Kyrie back on up. You see the zone pulling away. Yeah, maybe a little bit more drastic with another pull towards the north, but at least they're going to get a chance for the trio to get back into the game. Wow.
Another fight, or is it?
Everything unfolds before you realize it.
Oh, they're farming Max.
Take a look at a little update here with Kaji, Kovics, and Bray.
Look stat.
Being contested, they've kind of moved out. Seems like they've got their Barons back under them here. Other team on the outskirts, marker on the map here. They're really spotting this squad out here. It's Ozone and Veer.
Their first effort.
Seem to be moving, trailing kind of closely behind them. Great tags on Takashi there from Noxy. Kick this one off.
Oh, they're on the quarter islands. Imagine Peterbot was still there.
Not a bad idea. Angel, Aim Red, Gary. They essentially land at Foxy Floodgates, and they didn't necessarily take the challenge in order to contest Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold on that island, but they're just taking the position. It is going to be in zone. Now they got to start worrying about a way down, but you can see they're only 100 above the damage threshold. That's not in their worry for now. Their main focus point is just trying to get as many shots for Surge as possible, so that way when they do make that inevitable trip towards the Lord ground, it's a little bit easier then to find a little bit more comfortability instead of having to go straight after more Storm Surge.
Yeah, that's always the looming pressure in these types of lobbies is where you're going to get that damage once you start to slip behind. Fishy Neko, Zavi looking for something here, but give that a second for a moment. Aaron's team's below the surge. We just talked about where do you find the damage. This is how you do it. Sometimes you just got to kind of force the action here. Dash is coming out. They try to put the chase onto.
Oh, they're going to get the trio. Oh, crap, no.
It's kind of in the front. Get any tags onto Surge. A couple. Look at how they're just 9 above right here, Jacob. So this is gonna go all the way through to Siberia.
Yeah, 9 above. Yes, you're not gonna get active Storm Surge taking damage on you, but you know that's not a feeling of comfortability. You know that could flip in a heartbeat, and that's why they're following them. There it happens, 6 to 22 below the damage threshold. Great shots being fired off.
Stop making fun of my likes.
Cynics and Polar doing a good job playing this one defensively, and another third party coming in, zone closing in their favor. As long as they don't make any bad peaks, in order for Polar to get taken down, they should have more than enough time with more and more teams rotating in this position. But Fredbot being down below the damage threshold, he might not have the luxury to wait this one out.
HP kind of ticking away there. Cynic, Cirque, and Polar kind of wait this one out for a second.
Bro, what?
Cooper want
what are you talking about
this action here. Aaron, though, below the Surge, goes for a trade of tags there. The Surge is active. He might have bought himself a little bit of time with that big shot onto Surge for a moment there. So this is going to continue to go the distance now.
Another fight. Oh, it's Peterbot.
Looks like
oh, nah! Block it, chat, Peterbot.
Looking to rack up eliminations.
Peterbot, chat. Peterbot. Peterbot.
Just walking down the street. Hey, what is this? Is this something I want for a moment? It did look like they were really
Bro,
take that chance.
Colt has
Engage
like
on
barely
out.
any
Yeah,
shots
I
on
think it's
him.
just that low on surge,
Now he
and he got
does.
straight eliminated going for it. Sometimes, Moss,
You're
you know as well as I do, if
that's
you're
like
not
the
proactive enough
craziest,
to get that
sweatiest
storm
skin in the
surge,
world. I'm gonna
you're no
report.
longer in control of your own destiny. Of your
Bro,
own
what are you
game
talking
plan.
about
You
AMR,
literally have
bro?
to push one of the first teams you see, even more so if you don't have any heals to attempt to out-heal it.
Oh.
Yeah, Cold Ritual and Peterbot kind
think
of
that's
eased their way off of that messy fight.
Oh no.
Just see out of nowhere teams landing all around him. That's just showcasing how
Everybody's
desperate
literally near.
some are just for that little bit of extra damage. Sebi and his trio here, I would assume don't need the damage. Yeah, they don't, but that storms are just cooking Sebi. Or sorry, the storm damage in general. Luckily, he does make it to the edge of the zone and it pulls this way.
Oh wait, we're in zone 7. Oh no!
That all happens
So we
here.
gotta lock in. That's why the damage is so high.
Seems like the team might have noticed what happened there, kind of reading the room a bit right now. They've got to put up a fight back though, or change layers or something here. Can't just let their mats get eaten up.
Hold on,
like
chat.
that.
When did
Luckily,
they gotta go live?
kind
Hold
of
up.
eases up for a second there.
Second sooner on that pressure would have been disastrous. Soneto, Osid, Cam going against NPen. Zen.
The next time we're live.
And one more. You can see Zen trying to stay alive. He was able to get the knock, but Nut tried to push in. Just too little too late. NPen's all in the box as well. Cam just had the perfect angle. And even though Soneto went down, he was the perfect distraction for them to win that fight. It's just it being a 5-tick in the zone, pulling further and further away from where they're at. The chances of them being able to get that reboot is probably slim to none.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to happen here, but we are at a name POI, so we'll see. We've seen crazier things happen late into the game.
I gotta eat salty mouth.
Let's watch this though. What happened to Cooper and Curly? Reed was just moments ago sitting healthy on the side of a mountain, but this zone rotate must have been disastrous for them, and now every team under the sun that's got a little bit of an angle on them seems to be putting pressure here onto Reed.
Like so low.
That's just 10 builds. This is a tough situation. How far can he go here? Players are dropping though. Like he could maybe earn placement points. It's not gonna be easy, but Slavy's pretty light right now.
Yeah, with no elimination so far, this could be one of those situations.
Giant bind cones in stock. I gotta eat salty man for dinner and get a low paper fade tonight, which I promised yesterday and I forgot. Are you serious?
That's cold. Ritual and Peterbot.
Chat, don't let me forget to get a low tip face tonight on my stream.
What happened?
And I was just talking about the salty man for dinner. Thank
you.
you.
Ran into cold Ritual and Peterbot along the way.
Yep, as always.
Get a low tip face, chat.
You got Peterbot in the lobby.
Oh.
You take all your plans, all your strategy, throw it out the window. He's got one of his own. Oh,
Red bot is dead.
The second, no way, returning online, little 2v1
man.
for the boy.
Hey, yo.
We're just kind of hinting at whether or not he was going to be able to actually earn some extra points, and well, guess what? He's got placement points, and now Elam points starting to add up here. No miss for him though. That's probably the biggest letdown. But
here the core island.
Look at this, a little loot left over. Hey, he's going to welcome all types of siphons here. And he goes. How that kind of worked out the pre-fire here. Fred and California were so lit up. It's perfect.
Oh my god, bro.
Just dipping his toes in, little refreshing water at the bottom.
A war zone
double siphon mats as well, plus he has those bubble shields in order to kind of save some of those mats where he can, in case he does get sprayed. Jojo Fishy, Pikes, Aoxy kind of turned the tables just a little bit from the last team that we saw on top of the island. They're hoping that this amount of elevation can be very, very useful to them, but in the back of their minds, they still have to be wary about how they're going to get down, especially if they don't have this form. Peterbot cold Ritual, they finish the job, they take out Reed. At least he was able to get some of those eliminations and at least a team or two worth of placement points.
I already got it.
Yeah, that is true. Just looking at the way this zone's kind of ending here, this is high key.
Okay, bro.
That's crazy place for the game to end.
Bro, there's a war zone in this area.
And then going up
Chat,
and
look
over
at
all the
the
directions,
builds.
the most vertical towards the islands.
There's
up
a
top.
war zone in Foxy
Just
Flood.
unforgiving
Oh
at the
my
moment.
game below!
Wow.
And red, look it
419 below the
in!
damage threshold. If he could just kind of out survive this. Maybe hope that full trio gets sprayed down. He can get some of the damage. But he basically needs 2 full eliminations worth of damage in order to get above that threshold. So it's going to be a mountain to climb for him, both literally and figuratively. You see the zone fully in that direction. AOXI team hasn't really been contested that high up. 1,400 damage above the threshold for Peterbot Gold and Ritual. Just continuing to take names and check them off their list. 7 eliminations so far. And if that stat earlier on the game means anything, they're on track for at least 18.
Yeah, this is going pretty big right now. And you know what? It's kind of interesting that it's by choice they're running the Outlaw right now. So this is a very hyper kind of, you know, make a mistake and it's over for you type loadout. The heavy hitters right there. Ozone here and Noxy playing very
doing some more growagarden
right now. Nice pickup onto Yusuf right there. A mistake being made. Up into a Neko Fishy. Xavi, they're going to lose one right now. Trying to play the front side. Early to rotate here on the low ground. Peterbot's team coming through, moving fast. Talk about your ability to kind of key through. Memmis kind of forced out here as the zone's pushing in. Got another one down. The box goes. Grabs the wall too.
Wow, it's kind of the bait and switch. Look at the double down. In mere seconds, Peterbot is essentially full health. Gold takes much of the damage. Switch spots with Peterbot. Kind of like a train ride as they're running through teams here on the low ground. And much different side of things that we've seen before on their way to big games and big eliminations. They usually dominate the mid-level. They dominate the high ground. They're just proving there's other aspects to their game, but Disaster Strikes, Ritual, and Cold both go down. Peterbot now being put to the test. 1 elimination. 2. He's getting multiple knocks here, and another one on the Veer as the elimination cleans up. 146, and remember, he still has the medallion.
What is going on?
He is going for second.
Peterbot just got like a million eliminations.
Did you say 18? Did you call it an 18? Okay, yeah, he's on his way.
He just got like
16 right now,
Jacob. Bro.
Just cooking on the low ground. I mean, he makes it look effortless alongside Ritual and Cold, and sure, he's a solo now, but top 5 surely seems to be in question as he's working his way up the high ground. JoJo, Pikes, and Oxy, gotta look out. You got this man with a some dangerous action here on the low ground here. Here comes a little floor take right there, putting out the cones. He's got that misform to go ahead and scout for a second there. Gets to the front as well. These are not his builds right now. Tyler trying to break his way through. And it is just going down right now. I mean, I still think it's anyone's game here.
Top 5, chat. Who is winning this match?
I think so as well, especially
who is gonna
a
win?
lot of the players on the low ground still haven't clashed up until HQ going down. Peterbot still finding a tunnel to tar, even if it's recycled builds. Osin and Cam doing the same thing, but they're almost fresh out. You see only 3 more materials used on one side, which makes this that much more important. They need the loot, the siphon, the mats, everything here, and they're going to get most of it and continue moving forward as they take down Tyler as well. But the flame comes in, one's going to go down. That's Cam cleaning up Tyler for the siphon. Didn't come in time, but Peterbot's still alive.
No, Peterbot died.
Down, but into the top 3 we go.
Nicely done for sitting Cam to kind of survive that onslaught there. JoJo Pikes, Aoxy get broken down. They're just looking to reinforce, and you can feel the pressure from them right now to try to qualify their way to finals. They're doing everything in their power not to clash prematurely here on the low ground. Sid and Cam need to kind of fight back here. Sid goes up. JoJo boxes up. He wants to go for a heal off. This passive play might be a huge mistake here. Give it a second. That's a knock. That's going to be a siphon way to get picked up. But no, gets crashed on by a huge playing heal off. JoJo heals his way to the win, and that was the strategy all along.
And while all that action went down between those 2 teams, Monster Curve just sneaked his way into a top 2. But big ups for them. They just pulled off a big win, Monster, and qualified themselves for the Major 3 Grand Finals. You know what that means? They get the rest of the day off.
Yeah, you see, you can really feel it when, you know, every team has their own agenda. You got teams like Peterbot playing that low ground, hyper fast, right? Looking for fights, just kind of racking up eliminations. They could have gone for high ground a lot sooner, but with the way that Island was coming into play, Pikes Astria was like, nope, we're going to just go ahead and ride this one through to the end. And I was talking about that difficult terrain for good reason as well. That was a huge factor that they didn't even have to worry about. So clearly they had so much material. Let's look at it here from their perspective. JoJo Pikes Aoxy this late in the game, still sitting at about 60 or so builds. Pikes obviously had already dropped everything. Look at Curve up top from that side angle. He thought he had it for a moment there, but He ticked his way out. Congratulations to Ayasi Pikes and Jojo Fishy winning match 1 here for group number 3. Jacob, to go on and kick this one off. What a way to start the day there, Zeke.
Bro, you see what I'm saying? We talked about this at the top of the show. Win conditions, okay? Now, this trio, they did not have the medallion from Rift Island, right? We saw it on Pete. Yeah. We saw him kind of jumping around.
They didn't have
what I love is that they utilized Rift Island in that mid game. You saw them for a moment. We cut to the wide. They're just out there shooting down. They save so many materials. When we cut to them, when it's like the 1v3 situation or the 3 trios remaining, bro. They have like 60 builds up pop, bro. They had so much ready to go. And the fact that they even had a player kind of already back in zone playing the heal off. Kelly, they're treating that like a finals lobby.
Oh, Jojo.
Yeah, they played that so smart. And like you said, it started all the way back from Rift Island there. I'm not too certain if they were able to actually claim the island themselves, but we can see this rotation over there.
I am enough
actually using bird form a lot. It's something that I've seen Poyo do a lot, where they
won't actually
use
the Rift Island
to get up to Rift Island. Instead, they bird form up there. But you can just see what opportunity they had. And for it to go back over Rift Island, obviously that's a little bit of RNG. Deoxy, Jojo, and Pikes were actually up on Rift Island quite earlier than that. So to be able to reclaim it once again, I just love to see it. And then they just handled this so well. Pulling over the mountain. They knew that from Rift Island they only needed to expend a minor amount of materials, and then they just carry that all the way to the end.
I am enough. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely the point I want to hit on as well, right? We just saw it yesterday where we were kind of critiquing King's trio, right? They had the higher gun right there. They had so many eliminations going into the end game, but then throughout some of those moving zones, they didn't find the eliminations. They couldn't get those refreshes. But when something like this happens, when the Rift Island is available for you to go up there and claim, and that's your stake to higher ground, you don't got to build a tarp. You don't got to build a foundation so that way you can't get chopped out. You're just up there floating free from the rest of the lobby. You don't have to necessarily find any of those eliminations, which is why we see that 6 elimination game kind of come in where they didn't necessarily need any refreshes. They just had to play the game out and continue to play from the higher ground. Well played from that trio.
Absolutely textbook. No notes now, of course. Before we can jump into game number 2, we have to go to a break. When we return, though, we break down game number 1 and Peterbot. We'll see you right after this.
Oh, I'm back. What is this banger they're playing, bro? What is this banger, bro? What is this banger move? Alright, kill.
Welcome back to the FNCS, everybody. Game number 1, Aoxy, Jojo Fishy Pikes get themselves a victory royale off the high ground. We'll be seeing them going straight to the grand finals, but another story developing in this game. Peterbot, for a moment they're left alone as an individual. You know, Kelly, it doesn't matter because they're still gonna get 16 eliminations as a trio in a 4th place.
So chat, while I wait for them.
Yeah, the exotic on as well as the mythic
while I
rifle,
wait,
and then he had heals as well. Not too many builds, but who needs builds when you're able to eliminate everyone on the low ground? And even as a solo, we've talked about this so many times. We've seen it so many times from Peterbot. It's something like the Game 11 boon, not curse, where every single time Peterbot is put into a solo situation, it looks like he is a trio all on his own, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible stuff. I think one of the most, incredible things too about this trio is that when we kind of tune in the early game, they were obviously in a 3v3 battle with Edgy trio, and that one kind of took a very long time, right? It was like, wow, I kind of expected that to be closed.
Open up this brand new egg. Let's see what we get, chat.
Straight on 3v3, they usually do end up closing this out pretty quick, but because that took so long, they were actually in 7th zone this game with just those 3 eliminations that they found in the early game. And like Zeke mentioned, right, 16 eliminations, which means that all of those eliminations pretty much came from the end game. It is just incredible that this trio can just
time to open up the egg.
so many eliminations when there are so around you. They're able to just find and not only like win them, but
huge Eddie,
affected.
Huge angry Eddie. Sorry for hurting your guys' ears. I just got a huge angry Eddie, chat. Dogs.
He's just gonna do it in the end game.
Bro,
he's gonna do it.
I like that you say that.
We got the huge Yeti. Now we don't need to index shadows.
There is
Yo, my bad. Yo, my bad.
And I feel like Peter.
Yo, my bad.
It's like
now we don't need to index shadows.
He perfectly can see
go.
And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take 1 step to my right. Look at that.
Don't need to index shadows, chat.
Oh, let me take a step to my left.
Almost an entire line.
Did you say impact? Like.
We had 2 more huge, bro.
Is next level.
Wow.
I also want to talk about 3rd place there. OSID, Cam, and Cineto. Now, of course, we only saw
That's crazy. W. My bad for screaming, though. I'm so sorry.
Game, but still, these guys put up a
What's up, Eric? What's up, the kid everybody cares about? How you doing?
Right? If we're targeting consistency, that is a very good start.
Yeah, and a lot of that came from the low and mid ground game that they played towards the end there. Just playing the levels so well, not necessarily sticking to the extreme low throughout the entire game. And also, I love the play that we saw at the very final moments there where they burned it up. They wanted to go for the eliminations. But of course, if you have one player that's able to pull back and go for the heal off, eliminations are only going to do so much. But getting a 2nd place with all those elims is definitely going to be holding them up in the top of our leaderboard.
It's so funny because I wanted to talk about how, mechanical OSID was looking right there, right? Like he was looking clean. Everything was looking really, really good for him. And then when we tuned into him right there at the end, he had 0 eliminations. I was like, wait, did I watch the wrong guy? He's like, no, I swear, like he was looking very, very clean right there. Cam obviously just picking up most of those eliminations. OSID, and he went 2 right there. But yeah, very good first game from this trio.
I love it. Let's get some more Fortnite action. Casters,
take it away. Ready.
Thank you so much. And no, Vivid, you were not wrong. OSID, 2nd or 3rd most in overall damage behind Peterbot and Cold, almost 1,300 in that game.
This should remind me of
those eliminations
stolen
away.
Yeah, but he put up the numbers, right? That damage was nothing to be overlooked at. Definitely showing that they're a team to be, put on the radar for popping off and possibly winning a game. But you got to stay away from that low ground if Peterbot and team are going to be looking to kind of make some big numbers, find some highlights, rack up some content, if you will, to kind of close out the weekend for themselves, because that's just not going to work for most teams.
Yeah, and with Aoxy, Jojo Fishy, and Pikes qualifying to the grand finals, the format says a spot has opened up. It's over towards the big man monster on top of that mountain. Usually teams like to 50-50 into that little tunnel. That's usually where it is if it's contested, but this time around, uncontested, free loot. So if your drop spot wasn't necessarily working in game 1, now would be the time to switch it up because game 2 is ready, and let's get right into it.
Game 2.
Group 3 game 2 now gets to kick off here. That last end game, though, talk about a disaster zone for most, especially with the island right off top of the Foxy Floodgate. Normally, we celebrate a dead center end game, but right there, man, that was a tough one for most. So let's see how this is going to go ahead and dice up as we are now in game number 2 of 5. One thing to think about though, Jacob, for just a little refresher for everyone at home. The name of the game is win. If you win, you go straight to finals, and then after that, it's top 5 consistency. We'll also have a seat on that battle bus.
Yeah, and usually kind of looking at the leaderboards for the past 2 group stages, it usually takes 3 good games out of 5.
Oh my goodness, I see I am enough.
You try to make sure you have no 0-point games, because that really puts the pressure on to close out the day. Back on over towards Utopia, and it does look like one team just kind of getting the lion's share of this loot, but overall, they're kind of split up. This would be a good chance for Caliper and his entire trio to try to push towards the north. Aaron is literally a solo on that side of the map.
Yeah, Aaron's definitely out of position. Something's gone wrong there, but
I contested it out while Oasis. I'm not been in that field while
here. One already down, bluish and back. So Oasis starting and ending before we can even put a touch on it. That was a quick sending back to the lobby, if you will, here.
Much needed too, because we know how disastrous these kind of drawn out fights are. There's no contested teams to their west, another one uncontested a little bit towards their southwest. That could have changed, but they're bluish. Oh my. All you need is just a little bit of loot, just double pistols, and he just able to beam one, get the other one to about 20 HP, and now he has the high ground and full advantage. This is how he was able to clean them up for all 3 of those eliminations. Oh, the pickaxe.
And the pickaxe kill.
Waiting, like, dude, drop me something. Like, I got nothing.
Off spawn.
Finished with the pickaxe.
Anything but that. Kind of seeing around the map, kind of uncontested spots. Almost, I think, a good portion of the map on the northeastern side uncontested, from first order base to supernova to pump power. So there's a lot of freedom in the early game, but depending on how split you are in that drop, those are the little intricacies you really got to watch out for.
Early game kind of cycle here with teams that perform very well. 72 points for Tyler's trio. Not bad at all.
Oh, I haven't been in the turtle area in so long. Y'all remember that turtle area?
The door here.
Or when there was like one special chest in the lawless season.
This time, that was the sneaking around for Fred's trio. They're trying to get straight to it.
That was the only one.
This is the difference, right, between a game 1 to game 2. Teams kind of warm up.
I remember that area.
Respect is thrown out the window, and there it is. Looking to kind of apply dominance here. This is going to work much better for Fred's trio.
Yeah, it's kind of what you're saying, like warm up, just gain that confidence, especially kind of when you look at the leaderboard after game 1, the team contest you might not have performed well. That's kind of like boosting from game to game, especially now if you win the fight here. If you somehow don't win the game and go to the grand finals, there's even more confidence in that Utopia fight on one side. Bluish, arsenic plasma fight, just kind of continuously rotating over towards the east. You kind of see the spire in that mini map, so you kind of see the over-ending goal of what they're after here.
I'm stuttering. I only win.
So after that team wipe now,
W.
Looks like they're kind of inching their way towards danger here.
I think I
be careful right
playing. I first ever like I didn't know what game mode. Yeah, oh wait, there's a spire here. I never knew that.
That team's essentially kind of letting them get it for free without even trying to contest it, but I don't necessarily see all 3 members there together. They are kind of spread out. Now you can kind of see in the mini map they're looking over in that direction, but at this point in time,
they're finding spires to get the caves.
How late are we to rotate on over?
That's why everybody and their dad has so many
being
caves.
Grabbed up. They already got the XP for their superhero rank. So it's like decision. Are those mist forms or those surf cubes worth fighting this early in the game?
Yeah, I was going to say, look at how critical the loot that they just claimed was. 2 mist forms, plenty of extra heals. Showing you the power of the spires, even the mini ones there. So I think it's their loss for not fighting for it. But yeah, having one member a little too far out, that's what happens.
Just kind of looking around. You're seeing just a lot of these early bases, kind of where the zone's pulling towards the south. A good portion of them, you see already 2 different surge bases there, kind of plan B. A lot of the times you don't want to necessarily use these launch pads, but if you get pushed, you're stuck in a weird situation, you may not have the mobility that you're looking for, that might be a good way to try to escape. Get out for free. and kind of reposition overall. And up until then, you don't have to use it. You can kind of just sit up on this perch, loot up, get the surge. They see they have one player towards the bottom, just trying to accumulate the materials that they might be missing up into the spot. Because you see how many monster that they've used just to get up into this mountain.
Yeah, I was trying to debate to myself if it's worth staying here this long with 2 players.
Another strong surge base. Like,
luckily, they kind of split and then send one back down. They gotta get their resources together.
I don't know. I probably got the winner's
that
name.
mid game here.
Like every time in Bad Wars, I see the winner's name.
Ooh, they're getting targeted. That ramp out, trying to see if they can break them down.
No, what is that other name?
Oh, it's edgy.
Like on the flare.
Good chance to find themselves a little elimination here. They kind of finish this team up.
I haven't seen Peterbot. Where's Peterbot at?
Oh, big opportunity there for Edgy to go in and make a mistake, but he's got them dashes to go in and save himself either way. Great knock here to kind of kick this one off, and that's going to be 2 already secured.
Yeah, and you kind of see the lone player in the mini-map. He's wondering, just kind of eyeing it down, like, is it worth going over there now? Do I wait? Almost in the center of the zone at Lone Wolf Layer, so it might be a very, very risky situation to put yourself in. And then you got to add on the fact that you don't see another player in the mini-map anywhere. So it could quite possibly be a solo with the entire game on the line. 28 teams still up. Far too early to go down for anybody for that matter.
I see like a million EXE in this server.
A little lurk play right here by Osid.
There's a lot of EXE clans.
They get face checked by another trio right now. Don't really get to set up the ambush they were probably looking to right there.
1,500 storm damage? All placed in dirt in game 1? 1,500?
That's actually a lot of storm damage. 1,500 storm damage
so much fun,
from game number 1. And we kind of saw why. You know, the early game fights going on over towards their west. They're contested here for the most part at the resistance base.
When that
so
mini
it's
was
not easy
unvaulted,
to
bro,
move out of the
I
spots
used to go for that.
And then you add in the fact that they want to get Storm Surge, so they're taking advantage of the surrounding teams that may not have a safe drop spot to land at. So overall, working out well.
Respect that click skin.
Hottie KSM delayed. They're just getting pushed. Their high ground stolen away. They even lost KSM along the whole path. He's just dropped down to the low ground, and they're just trying to lurk around, keep their position hidden out. So that's going to be their only way to try to take this fight back.
Probably like hours.
Yeah, Hottie's kind of found himself upstairs. Delays down in the low ground, just kind of waiting this one out. I think it's just a matter of time, though. They get spotted out from this other trio.
Yeah, they gotta make another season.
Oh, yep, there it is. Delayed, forced to fight back. Great little shield crack here. Kind of reinitiates the other trio, so they wasted no time to jump back into it. Clearly, they want a piece of this action here. Could've, should've, would've. No opportunities presented, though. Now, do keep in mind, they kind of initiated this off with a couple dashes, so you can see Minka is already kind of out. It's not near his team to go and get the replenish, so has to be careful.
Like he was going to drop down for a moment. These turned sideways. All that aggression coming out from Apple and Snake, they just kind of get the tables turned on them. Not only the shield, but HP just get torn off just like that. You kind of see it's forcing them to reposition all around in that entire
How many EXE clans have we watched?
That's where it could get a little dangerous depending on where everybody's at, who owns what pieces. But it does look like Lulu, Minka, and their trio just kind of converging in the same box. They don't want to take too many risks. And this puts Hattie in a weird spot because he has to sit and listen to all of this play out. And hopefully there's enough time left to get the reboot cards when the dust settles.
They know he's here. They know for sure. They kind of had tabs on that first elimination. They saw the second go through, so they're not trusting it. But the QTE trio still here. Hattie just has to wait this one out. Still plenty of time to go out and play for those cards as well. A little update. What's going on with Peterbot? He's taking a little 1v3. You know, nothing. No biggie. Kind of doing his thing.
So yeah, exactly that. Just normal Peterbot action. Nothing too exciting. Just putting himself into a 1v3, fighting the team. He knows Cold and Rich will know how to close the gap. They do have the miss form. Peterbot using the dashes and the medallion as his primary mode of rotation, getting tagged up just a little bit. And you can see him dropping and picking up the medallion, instantly starting that shield regeneration while using the chug just to kind of get there faster. And you see it just in mere seconds. It's like he wasn't even hurt at all.
I was gonna say that could catch a team off guard too, right? Like a real fake out. They key thinking they have a big advantage. He's gonna be back to 100 before you even realize it. Cirque, Cynics, Polars, the team on the run right now. Oh wow, too far out. Peterbot kind of initiates
oh wait,
this
we're
one here.
expecting Peterbot now.
The effects of the
Most
shotgun
of the
kind
best
of
in the
taking
world.
form here.
Mr.
There it
DMR,
is.
Exotic Pump.
Frosty effects, but
Expire.
ooh, wait a
Like,
second
what
now.
the
Peterbot
fuck?
forced to do the reset. Like
Peter's
he
got
just
all the
talked about here.
medallions,
Look at that
bro.
HP fly up.
Now we're expecting
Cole jumps in,
gold.
kind of closes it out. Medmiss comes down.
Looking at
There's
this
a full
point.
reset for the team now.
It's ridiculous, dude. The dashes plus that medallion from the island.
Peter is so
Peterbot
stacked.
is just zooming
There's
around
no
the
way
map,
they win
starting
this.
some of these fights. Luckily,
Peterbot,
though, I will say,
965
Cole the
and
Virtual
gold,
were there to
937.
alleviate the pressure. That was a very, very dangerous position for Peterbot to be put in, especially since he not only has the medallions, he has both of them and both of the mythics. They're basically putting all their eggs in the Peterbot basket. Rightfully so. How many times, Monster, has it worked out in their favor?
Also, if you guys
But
don't
it's that
know,
risk-reward scenario
Peterbot's
that we're
gonna be
talking about is
landing
the
in
instance
brutal
of
box
closer and closer to box fights. A lot of noise being made down below, and that's just a huge signal for Peterbot to try to take
August
advantage
7th,
of, knowing
like,
that
Demon
Trio's
Domain's
down
gonna-
there. He's just trying to peek and choose, trying to find the right angle to start this aggression.
At 2:30
I
p.m.
just love how Cold is like the closer. You know, he kind of comes in, definitely is going to hold
So,
his
like,
own,
2 hours
especially
before-
with Peterbot by his hip. The Ritual right behind him, just full support here. This is excellent work right now.
Crazy how,
Miss can be the dead
crazy
giveaway
how
here,
the
cuts him
season's
off from
already
both
about to
sides.
end. Even though I barely played this.
Just not giving up on this chase, and with the amount of pressure he's putting down, you saw he forced Jace out of the med miss. He's not letting him get minis, forced to drop the dash. Even though he has dashes,
Like,
he cannot
name
pick
a
up that
season
blob
that
again.
I
Every bit of resource he has is just
below
getting
level 100.
wasted, and now Ritual with the sideline taking down Jace. That
If you
elimination
guys want to know what's
has been
crazy, bro?
secured.
I played that LoL this season so much, I was almost
That's 3 overall for them.
I was going to say, did
Yo,
Jace
Mercy,
throw
I
the
remember
blob
you.
for
What's up?
himself and then had to run before he was even rewarded with dashes?
It was like this. Bro.
Happened so fast.
Okay,
Yeah, how
yo,
quick they are,
bro.
exactly that.
So we're now expecting a gibberish name. This guy just spammed his keyboard.
Tyler
for
Curve
this.
and Josh, 72 points. I believe that, what, 6 or so eliminations,
I don't
second
understand
place
this guy's name.
in that last game.
Now we're
Starting off
expecting
on the right
Josh.
foot, talk about 3 good games. If they can start the day with 3 good games, then kind of all but secure their spot. They can start playing with a different amount of confidence, maybe condition their
SRW,
drop spot. But up
SRN.
until then, it's going to have to be business as usual. They're holding on to their high ground. Really not letting that team beneath them breathe. And coincidentally, it's not letting them peek out to continue to try to grab Storm Surge either.
I thought for a second there, this team was surely done the way Curve and Tyler were moving up top. Josh, I'm looking for that side angle. Tyler back to scouting the general area. Another trio moving pretty fast below them. This team's team. Looking for a side angle. Kaji's trio kind of behind now. Josh, Curve, and Tyler here.
Honor Crime, bro. Crime City is just for you, bro. Actually, no.
I like this. This is where
Probably
like the
like-
experience comes into play for like Tyler, Curve, and the
But, like,
Tyler
yeah.
trio. Even though they have a full
Like,
team
how-
down below that they were just fighting, that they know they have to be worried about, they're still looking off in the distance, knowing that Storm Surge never stops and never sleeps. Doesn't matter if you're stuck in a
Oh, they're
box
crouching.
with a whole other team pressuring you. That's
There's
going to still
like
accumulate.
6 dudes up top
Kaji,
of there.
Kovix, and Bray, they're just getting more and more brave to try to lurk their way up. And this is where, if they don't have all of the information that it's 2 teams here, it could go dirty fast.
Yeah, you have to assume they probably think the battle's over because the high ground team is focusing on
bro.
shots in the distance, but no, there's that information right there. Ooh, and it breaks out up top. Now they have even more opportunity to get kind of an ambush going here. Of course, the disengage down to low ground is going to get boxed up.
Just like how patient Josh is playing. He even dropped down
Wait,
a few
there's another
layers
team.
to kind of get
I
more
think
in their
there's
layer.
another team to the south.
How have we
Who's
already
that?
been live for now? That's crazy. Like the second round.
Luckily, they're coming in on the low ground. It's going to take them
I
a
think I
while
know
if they
five
go
of
up there
mine
to
for
lurk
like
that
an
play. I'm not
hour.
going to say it's
3 matches,
impossible.
like-
They're gonna
It's
walk into the
Saul,
other
Enough,
lurkers.
and Smiley. Oh my god.
How crazy would it be? They're like, oh yeah, let's get in the box, and then you find a full trio underneath, kind of waiting there. This is probably gonna happen, by the way. They are moving, they're inching. Oh my gosh.
Let's not be confused. This is lurking team 1, not the original 2, and not lurking team 2 that's now flanking. Because now it feels like the lurkers are getting lurked on. And while the 2 original people fighting on top of that entire base are the safest of them all.
I'm thinking Cyclops' team's like, yeah, we're just here for the launch pad, you know? Brea, Fi, Kovix, Kazu, you do whatever you guys want to do. We're just here for the launch pad. Don't worry about us. Oh, now they surely know. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Now they have a little bit of advantage of that elevation. Yes, they might have to heal up just a little bit. And that's a real giveaway.
Oh, I see Peter by shiny stat.
The first teams that were already there will join that 4-team battle royal in a few moments. But Peter Bot and Ritual seem to be fighting against Edgy, Chance, and the trio yet again. Even though they're 1,300 damage above the threshold, 3 eliminations. It's about making sure to push every team off of every position that they want.
The second time now, Chance's team's gonna get pushed by Peterbot here. They just have to work.
Oh, they're right near Peterbot. Oh no, they're right near Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual.
That floor might not have been his though.
Edgy!
Oh, he kind of backed off there.
Bro, it's Edgy. Oh no.
Just
waiting. No.
Pulling a heat storm here.
You're really gonna do that in Cold? Yeah, you're cooked.
If
Peterbot hears that, you're cooked.
And that's basically a giveaway. No more sneaking around.
No, actually, if Cold hears that,
firing
you're cooked,
those shots,
like,
the audio visuals,
like
how close it actually is. And now they know exactly where you're at. 857. From 1,300 to 857, you're seeing Storm Surge thresholds kind of in play.
Oh, they're running. They're running from
Chance,
Peter.
Full trio is going to kind of disengage towards the outside. They go directly towards that bunker. And they have the options here with 2 different superhero crates underneath. They can open up both. They have the med mist smoke it. If they so choose, they can use that rift to try to escape. And it might be worth it because I don't see too much mobility on the full trio.
One fight to the next. All in God's hands. Go ahead and wrapping this one up. 5 eliminations for this team here. And they pulled the zone pretty much. It's going to be a short rotate, but you got Peterbot's team kind of right above them. Looking on over to the messy builds here.
All in God's hands.
I'm not going to say this is exact monster, but of all the teams so far that qualified through consistency, in 5 games, the least amount of eliminations a team had was 16. So if you're not able to get all the points through placement, you got to start to look to maybe pick up a few eliminations. But 16, it's not relatively a high number through 5 games, so you don't have to overstep. You don't have to bite off more than you can chew going for eliminations. But it almost goes to show how much of a necessity they are in this 5-game format.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those things you know you need to accomplish, but you definitely
48 above. Oh
you know,
no,
you gotta let them come to you. Kyrie right now, they've got an excellent position here on the side of the mountain. The whole team's out. No one else has really got their number on them. Then for Neko and Trio, I mean, this is not looking too hot here at Prime City.
Oh, Peterbot's not. Oh,
fall here to the hands of Chance. Like
Peterbot's not.
Teams have been going back and forth here. It looks like it's a 2v2, so it's
oh no, Edgy again, bro. They found them.
Saw shield Edgy forced to play defense here, but no shots landing just yet.
Peterbot's not, Jack. Oh no.
Actually up, so it's a 2v3.
I will say this is like best case scenario though, because you see the zone pulling all the way towards the south. I don't know exactly every single position of every reboot on the southern western edge, but this could be their best opportunity if that team does disengage. But Cold doesn't feel like he wants to kind of let them disengage for free. They're 820 above the damage threshold. Zone is going to start moving.
Oh, they got the exotic pump.
Roughly 10 or
oh
so
wait,
seconds,
did they
so
kill Peterbot?
To try to figure out what they're going to do about this situation. And Edgy looking to get
Peterbot was
more
mad stacked.
The distance. Chance as well, knowing he has backup and a huge numbers advantage.
See what Cole can do here.
Not
forced to play backwards right now. Wants to be at max HP as well. I definitely respect
Edgy, you should have done that the Cold, bro.
Make those decisions on the fly here. This is as good as it's gonna get for Edgy, Duke, and Chance right now. We're at 4 elims as well. Seem to be pretty fired up here, but
yeah, they killed Peter Box.
They got the exotic to Cold and Ritual, saying, you know what, we're going to utilize the zone to our advantage. We don't want to get stuck in that 5 tick right now.
Yeah, Ritual's just trying to take somebody down with him. Yeah, he's just trying to take somebody down with him. I'm not sure the healing situation on the Cold. Maybe Ritual kind of
Ritual's not
everything. All the
he got a storm.
Like he's a pinata.
He got a storm.
That's all down to just chug. Oh no! Left, no mobility. I think this might be the end of the road, barring any miracle eliminations here.
Yeah, he would have needed to either escape right there.
Oh, they got no health.
No builds. Can't get up and over the mountain.
Bro, GG's, bro.
Wraps right here.
Wow.
Another game.
Wow.
Cold and Ritual. I'm all good with that. We'll be seeing them continue to give us that entertainment
and
throughout this kind of showing here for Group 3. Now jumping in with Reaperly and Hooper. Same can't be said for this team, right?
So
they
if you
didn't
guys
have
are
quite
ever
the game
playing
one.
Stage or
They are missing quite some points here.
About Cold Virtuals in your game.
Yeah, I think they would have got like 12
what would you
points,
do?
maybe even 13 in game number 1. They really got to make up for it here.
Probably hide.
If not,
do Storm
just get the victory royale, make it that much easier for yourself.
One dirty below.
Everybody's going through the same trials and tribulations. Some of them are going to be below the damage threshold. 134 for Kezi Tobbs and Exotic. Currently getting ticked on the way there. Forced to use the dash fight. That's the only way they're going to be able to close the distance and accumulate that surge at the same time. As they spot out, that might be what they're looking for. A full team towards the right, using their dashes to try to close the distance. But now Storm Surge has activated.
Oh, wait! Edgy again!
On the other side, Tobbs needs to heal, but I'm not sure he's going to get that chance. He's literally barely going to go down.
No, they're dead. They got to run, bro.
It's a full elimination. Kezi goes down.
Dead.
That's going to save him from getting fully eliminated for only a few seconds, but 177 for Exotic.
They are so
this is going to be a mountain to climb if he's looking to survive.
I like the stream.
Yeah, things would have been different had Tobbs not missed that shot. That is that critical moment where you just can't make the mistake like that and whip that tag. Granted, he wasn't on day 2 as well. Kind of slide right there, but here we have it. Exotic now. Traps one in the box with him.
200 below!
Take that fight there.
Oh, his teammates are dead!
Pick up there.
And there's like a 5 City War.
Down body getting quickly finished here. It's enough. Look at him, just kind of waiting nearby.
I am enough.
Not his builds at all.
Bro, enough. You have to win this fight. Oh, he's gone. Yep,
but Exotic falls to another team just lurking inside the builds. Who's on high?
I was about to say the same thing. I see Reed. I thought he might have been on high ground, but he's getting sprayed from a team that's in the clouds. Time will tell who that team is, and if it might have been too early, because they might have taken it at 8 zone.
Peter had like
some good materials, but down below Fred, Aaron, and Caliper, they've literally been scrapping the entire game just to get to this point. They can kind of close it out with a win, or even a top 3. They'll put themselves in a much better position than they were after the last game. But it's Cam, it's Osid, it's Neto, and they're in the driver's seat already with 99 points.
99 points.
Makes sense. Saw them start this game off with like 72, 76 points. Just really running things up. Coming out of game 1, now they're keeping that momentum. And you know, it has seemed like the trend this weekend has been if you take height first, especially in the earlier games, you kind of secure the win. You know? And a team that experience, I can see them going riding this one through to the end. But look at the Elans just adding up right now for Edgy, Duke, and Chance. My gosh, they're putting up some numbers here.
Yeah, that's what you do when you have an FNCS duo champion along with Chance, who's kind of earned his own stripes to be on a team just like this as they continue to dominate the low ground. Kind of making up for not being able to get a lot of points there in game number 1, but Veer, Noxy, Ozone trying to do the same thing. 2 eliminations so far. Not necessarily worried about Surge, having more of a focus on getting to the front side of the zone. They know at any moment things could happen. Straight to the back, and a good shot onto Fred. Sebi's there on the other side, but Noxy's making sure to hold their focus as they continue to tarp to the front.
But he flied away.
Gotta play it smart here. I like this kind of second round hold right now, this mid-layer positioning.
Oh, Edgy again, bro.
So if they don't start to
attack
soon, it's going to start to go really bad for them.
Shot
the high ground layers. Meanwhile, Chance, Edgy, and Duke just kind of running through things right now.
I don't see enough anywhere.
Reed, Curly, Cooper playing Memphis here, just kind of vibing out. They want to be completely capped off. They playing deep in the storm just now, but I thought for a moment there, but no, they're just trying to stay as healthy as possible.
Not enough.
I think they know every team.
What am I saying?
Out
I'm
of the
Cooper.
zone might not be as healthy as them, especially not be as looted up as they are. Chance with his 5 eliminations, 11 overall
Cooper.
for this entire team, but up above.
Are they below or are they?
Chris that finds a good shot on the one, forcing them to disperse into different directions. And
Or
that might have been it, because now
disabled.
Edgy's going down. Curly's the one that caught him off guard. Chance still trying to take fire from all angles. Forward to
Top
the
10, chat. Who's winning?
Mobility, no
Oh,
materials,
Edgy's
and
team
no chance at
died.
survival as
No.
they get taken down.
Played it well, though, made the right calls to continue to layer change, but everyone just seemed to be absolutely ready for the action. Noxy, though, on the other side, no zone here. Look at the loot pile that's happening down low. Meanwhile, pressure starting to come through for Reed here. He's gonna
Yo, Reed, we hacking, bro! Yo, Reed, are we cheating, bro?
Find a way to regather
Yo,
here.
Reed, are we cheating
the
right now? No, did y'all saw that? Yo, it's Reed cheating, chat. There's no way bro's playing. Bro, is he cheating, chat?
On those mid layers, and that's exactly
Bro,
why they made that decision to drop down low. Just give it up and worry about it later if a team does drop on them. Jay, Chris, they're just moving on that layer that we did give up. They're just stuck down below. They're crouching. Eventually, they might run out and have to go to the storm. They do have a Mendes smoke, but it's all about when do you use it. With zone pushing in their favor, now is the time, especially with the duo trying to push in. That's Veer, that's Noxy, it's Ozone. It's actually a full trio. They were able to get the revive, and they get a knock onto Curly as Noxy gets another one on the caliber, keeping themselves alive. That's their 6th elimination here in this end game.
Noxy, Veer, and Ozone come ahead after
top
that
3.
entire clash right there.
Teams.
Cooper and Reed, the last 2 left alive here, standing on top of their build, forced to come down. They're gonna block him out. Win conditions starting to be set up here for Noxy. He's got the heal off. Meanwhile, High Ground is doing what exactly? Coming back out of nowhere to find a couple Elin. Siphon is gonna go in and kick things off here. Noxy, though, losing teammates, but Ozone turn things around, and they end up winning the game from the low ground there.
That was actually huge. Well played for them, because throughout it all, Monster, there was a moment Veer actually got knocked, and they got the elimination. Instead of just abandoning him, they said, no man
Dobby win, bro. I keep going.
They cleared out space. They grabbed the body and said, get back on up, Veer. Because of the eliminations, they had more than enough loot to make sure he was able to get his
team
HP and
actually
shield back up
won.
for the eventual fight to win the game.
That's a rare situation that we just watched play out right there, where the
10th place the last game, and then I got 1st place the other game.
Victory Royale in these group stages, you know, we've seen the high ground teams pretty much run away with things.
Nice, bro.
Bro,
did y'all wait? I gotta show you guys something. If you guys can hear me.
Congratulations for Noxy Trio down low, really fighting their way. The action. Noxy, though,
what up?
Different directions, and that
yo, y'all see Reed, right?
She's going down. Curly's the one that caught him off guard. Chance still trying to take fire from all angles. Forward to the ultimate low ground. No mobility. No.
So Edgy's dead, okay? Edgy's team's dead. Now what? I think I scrolled too far. I don't know.
Ready for the action. Noxy, though, on the other side, no zone here. Look at the loot pile
Reed,
that's happening down low. Meanwhile,
yeah, look, bro, is bro cheating? Guys, is bro cheating?
On the outskirts, Cooper, Curly, Reed need to now find a way to
Reed gotta be cheating. We want stream.
You know, Jacob, that's a great question, and I have like occasionally, you know, but again, just given the like situation we saw at one point, we see the team on height, they have to kind of come down low ground. Ultimate low is Recoup with Curly, right? They've got nothing there in shambles. And this is the opportunity, right, for Noxy, Ozone, and Veer to take advantage, to say, look, we just gotta play this out. We gotta wait for them to kind of fight each other and kind of like forget about us for just a single moment in time. And if we looked at like their build, and can you watch like this bottom side of your screen? They had so many like outs, right? They had so many things in their utility that like there could have been so many different ways for them to clutch up this last little win.
What I loved about their play style on the low ground for this game is how they never played the front of zone exactly, and that's where a lot of the chaos, a lot of the action is. Instead, they were kind of like 1 or 2 boxes behind, which allowed everyone to kind of coalesce onto each other, and then they were able to get those follow-up eliminations. So really smart plays from this trio right here. And I mean, this isn't their first FNCS finals, but they are still relatively new, so I'd love to just see them grow from here.
I mean, it was one of those classic Fortnite wins, right? Where like, yeah, they did everything that they could on the low ground, right? They played it super, super well. But it's kind of one of those instances where it's like, we're kind of watching, right? It's like 10th, 11th zone. We're like, oh man, this team looks so good, right? Osid sitting up on high ground, uncontested. They got Matzlev. And then for some reason, there's a 3v3 going on in the final zone of the game up on the high ground. And both teams don't end up being the ones to win it. Of course, Noxie's trio taking full advantage of the fight going on up there by being the healthiest trio alive in the final moments.
Yeah, I mean, their first game, 10th place with 2 eliminations, right? Second game on the day, VR. Hey, we'll see you in grand finals, right? That's how, I mean, they've got to be feeling so unbelievably excited. And we are as well, because the next time we'll be seeing them is next weekend's grand finals, where they look to compete for one of the spots going to the global championships. For us, though, we have 3 games left to go, which means we're going to take a short break. When we return, we prep ourselves for game number 3. Welcome back to the FNC. Yeah, it's great to see you guys. Noxie, Veer, Ozone came to Victory Royale. So sick. Sorry, I got lost in the sauce there. My gosh, let's talk about other things that happened in that game, like Reet. We saw these guys ultimate low, Kelly. They were in shambles. Okay, I don't know that I've seen Reet in a situation like this in a long time, but for whatever reason in this game, something just, you know, there was something that didn't quite translate into the end game. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on what you believe may have happened, because I mean, when I'm looking down and I'm looking at Reet rat his way on ultimate low, I'm like, bro, what happened?
I mean, we just saw how chaotic the low ground was, and that's exactly why, you know, a lot of the teams that were in the low ground but in the back, letting other people to fight each other, got the victory royale. But what I think separates tier 1 from tier 2 teams isn't necessarily what they're doing exactly right, but when things go to shambles, how do they handle it? And I really love the play that Cooper and Curly and Reet made, where they were kind of crouching down on the edge of low ground, kind of below everyone else's builds, which allowed them kind of just stay out of harm's way, but also reserve any of those materials that they could have potentially used in the end game there. So although not exactly the game that they wanted to have, I do still appreciate the changes that they made in that end game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely needed that as well. Right after the first game going out a little bit early, it was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, we still got like 4 more games to play. But then in game number 2, it's like, all right, we need to bounce back here. And that's exactly what they did, right? Instantly putting themselves back into the contention for the consistency leaderboard with 72 points right there. I guess it's only kind of fitting, Zeke, to kind of talk about the team that's right above them on the leaderboard. Somehow with still 101 points, it's going to be Peterbot's trio getting a little aggressive in the early game once again.
You know, I think we saw some of this in EU earlier, right? You know, out of like Benno and company, you know, they tend to go a little aggressive. And then the lobby's just like, hey, whoa, I respect you, okay? But no, we're done with that. Just go ahead and take a step back, Peterbot, all right? All right, King. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes maybe going a little too aggressive, Viv, isn't the play, but like, I don't know. I feel like 9 times out of 10, this works for Peterbot. So like, I guess this was just the one time it didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we've seen this before, right? It's like, oh my gosh, Peterbot, you can never eliminate him, and then it happens. We're like, oh my gosh, wait, it's possible. But obviously, we know what they're trying to do right now, right? You know, they're trying to play that aggressive game, and sometimes they're going to go down.
Listen, it makes sense that Cold, Peterbot, and Rich will spell out CPR because this team needs to be resuscitated right now. They're in shambles. They're down. I think that this is the fall of Peterbot. But fortunately for him, they're still in 5th place. Even with these quote-unquote terrible games from them, they are sitting pretty right now in our leaderboard. And actually looking at the cutoff right now, 71 points. We still have 3 more games to go, though, Zeke. So there's still plenty of opportunity for teams that are outside of this top 10 to climb up the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, it's Peterbot. I'm not worried, right? In case you're just tuning in, you're not sure what's going on. Either it's
want to necessarily use these launch pads, but if you get pushed, you're stuck in a weird situation, you may not have the mobility that you're looking for, that might be a good way to try to escape, get out for free, and kind of reposition overall. And up until then, you don't have to use it. You can kind of just sit up on this perch.
I like that. With that being said, I also wanted to highlight super quick Sid, Cam, Sneto, once again a back-to-back consistent game. I mean, a 2nd place, and last game was 3rd, right? This time with 10 eliminations, 1 more elim. These guys are on fire. With that being said, though, I want more action. I want to see more of these games. So let's toss it back over to the casters to take us in.
We're almost to that halfway point of the last group stage of Major 3, Monster. And I gotta go ahead and say it as well. Sineto, Cam, Osid, they've had 2 good games so far. If they continue in that trend, have 1 more good game, they'll all but qualify for the grand finals.
Yeah, I think their names are written in the books at this point. They've been playing very well. And you know what? I got to give some respect to Reach Trio. They've also clawed their way out. I know that endgame was a little rough to watch, but they started this game 2 off with 12 points, away from them to kind of claw their way into the competition and stay relevant, right? No one wants to end up at the last chance qualifier. So let's jump on the battle bus one more time. Here we go, Jacob. Game 3 is kicking off, and yeah, I would say that Sineto's team is probably going to be one of the few that can definitely pick up a victory royale now.
Yeah, and it definitely kind of goes back to what they were talking about, the difference between EU Group 3 and some of the central groups that we were seeing around 163, 165 being the point threshold to get in. The only way that point threshold gets higher and higher is if these teams at the top of the leaderboard do not win a game. So when we look at Sineto, Cam, and Osid, if they win, it kind of alleviates some of the pressure at the bottom side of that leaderboard, and it kind of alleviates for teams like this that are going at it all day long, contested fights, Utopia City. Neither one of these teams have had the day that they wanted so far, but with 3 games left, now is the time with the pressure on.
Gotta play under pressure as finals starts to loom over. Just do our little updates here for some early game clashes going down. This is the first that we get to see the Kappa factory kind of early on for Cosmo, Kame, and Vex here.
And this spot opened up because of I believe it was our last game winners with Noxy and Veer qualifying. They were uncontested, and as soon as they left that spot, 2 different teams were like, you know what? Let's go ahead and see where that success was coming from. Let's see if we can figure out a way to replicate it. But just like one team had the idea, so did another, and then it becomes a contested drop, and then it kind of makes it not as good or as kind of as much of an option as it was before, as it was uncontested.
Yeah, look at this one. This is a fight that might just end pretty quickly here. It looks like Happy Neb and Silig barely have any builds to work with. Caught off guard there by Encrypted. Kind of opens things up with a big tag there. Sails from the side angle now as well. Gotta go ahead and collapse on in. Depth Sails Encrypted. Definitely the more experienced trio here, but anything can still go down. No ship. No shields this year. Oh, the Sails now. Neb's out of build still, like we talked about. Look at him just kind of running here.
Almost makes him where he doesn't really have to worry about him out there, but the shots still come in. And now there's the distance. That third party, I believe it might be the Supernova Academy team, just taking notice of this contested fight, especially out in the outskirts. And they might want to go that way anyway because there's a Spire there as well. Yes, that was Supernova. That was possessed. He's straight away from Jace and Rojo, but for good reason. He's able to pick up that elimination, 3 more points, Storm Surge, and he could possibly chase this team off to kind of claim the Spire for themselves.
Yeah, should have been an easy cleanup for Sails and Death there, but with Possessed team kind of rolling through and really just him himself, Sails and company feel the danger lurking by. So they're going to go ahead and disengage here. Meanwhile, Bluish, Plasma Phi, Arsenic pushing in now. They're going to find one here. Get that full finish there. Jumping them straight into B rank. So off to a fast start for this team as well. 2 elims now. Civ just gonna go ahead and have to run away now. There's not much he could do here.
Yeah, especially when your teammate does go down, and you can kind of see again another Spire spawning on that side of the map. They're trying to precondition and push that team out, just kind of get more space so they can't lurk around. On this other side, those shiny shafts. This is the fight we've been seeing all day long, kind of being prolonged, but Apple's going to be the first one going down. Snake's going to be pushed back, 42 HP. He still has Apple's body, but he's waiting for them to drop down, but doesn't get that shot to connect. And right now, he's in this tough situation, trapped underneath. He needs his teammate to kind of break out the back wall and give him an exit, and that's exactly what he does, giving him a chance to fight back as a duo.
Definitely back and forth right now. Say the pretty even terms here. Both sides are just 1 for 1 right now. Mathix gonna buy his teammates some time as the heals are starting to rack up. They kick in at the moment. Another trio rotating in from the north side, so Lulu's team's gonna be sandwiched here shortly. This is Sebi's trio. Another team that's had a lot of early game fights. Take a look at the replay though for Arsenic. Plasma and Bluish is how they picked up those first eliminations just moments ago before chasing down the team that tried to disengage there.
That's the only downfall of Mistform. That's literally the only downfall. They're kind of stuck in the wide open. They know exactly how long the Mistform lasts. They're going to know and essentially get the down just like that. As Sebi, they're kind of lurking in. I'm not sure if Minka knows, but now they do. But a little bit too late. They're not able to protect themselves. Lulu's now going to be stuck by himself, getting pressured. Koibs is there, just trying to use those revolvers to try to break through the builds. Even with a quick peek like that, he doesn't capitalize on that opportunity, and they're just swarming him like flies at a picnic to take him down. They get that elimination, but you can see that superhero crate not accessible just yet. They're still only C rank.
Yeah, you know, teams like Peterbot make it look easy to find all those ranks in the early game. But more often than not, you'd be lucky to have B come this time here. Even for Calipper's trio, who's been clearly in a whole early game fight. They're just fighting their way up to the C rank, but nicely done for them. They finally get to clean things up here at the Utopia City.
I wonder how Fred went down, but he just got separated. Crazy just made sure to clean up that elimination, say, hey, if we're going down, we're at least getting some points for it. So they got to hurry up at Utopia, get that reboot, because the zone is pulling in that favor. Players will cross that path as Kovic's trying to save the day. There is going to be a double down on each side, so it is going to be a 1v1. Kyrie versus Kovics on the other side. And instead of going for a res, he's just going for the full-on fight. But Cyclops and H-Cube, they're closing it on the distance. Fleeks is already there. No matter who wins this fight, it seems like that full trio, third-partying this, will be the real winners.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the points here. 39 so far. This is game 3. You're really running thin on opportunities to find your points. So for teams that are falling early now that haven't really broken towards that top 10, they're going to have a tough time even trying to pull through via consistency. For Cyclops, VLEX, and H-Cube, though, talk about a big come up for them. That's a 9-point swing now. All of a sudden, they're very much in the conversation here. Top 10 was 66 when this game started, so they're officially roughly 2 elims off the trail. Chance's trio is only 1.
Yeah, they were essentially the line when it started for Chance, Seji, and the trio, just playing this game a little bit different each and every single one. Typically, this would be a trio that you see kind of position on top of brutal boxcars. That's a center zone. You do have the mountains, and you beat every team there. But they've just been rotating rather quickly in a lot of these games, just trying to get some new position. You see them going over towards Shining Span. So this kind of leads me to believe that their focal point, they do believe the zone is overall going to continue to pull towards the south, or at least relative to where they once were.
I mean, when you come out of game 1 and 2 and Peterbot's fighting you in the early to mid game, you're clearly in an area that they love to roam. So I think it makes sense that we're seeing them play far and away differently this game here. This is all but a strategy to get to finals for them. Nice job by Dox. Little side jump. Goes for the edit. Beautifully done there. Okay, reading things pretty perfectly here. Builds are weak, keys his way into the box, and just closes this one out. Very, very nice. That's going to clean up Sevi's trio. Putting them up to 70 now for Chris J. Dox, they get into another fight shortly afterwards, and it's going to go ahead and go in their favor, it seems like, as well. That's the replay there to kind of start that whole thing.
And I'm glad they ended the fight as quick as they did, because in the mini-map, that team from their north was slowly but surely rotating in. Island instantly grabbed by Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold, just collecting all the medallions yet again. And they're trying to move towards the north. They know teams land over towards this side of the map, and most of these teams are going to be uncontested. And so they're just trying to figure out where they're positioned at, looking for Surge. And I think they might have gotten some sense. Maybe not know exactly where they're at, or even if they're a full trio, but something here leads you to believe that they saw at least one of these 3 players on this side of the map.
What a map visual, by the way. Not a single team south or to their east. So the call to go north is definitely the right one right now, whether they caught information or not.
The Neko, Fishy, and Zabi, they're just kind of waiting. And this is where I kind of say I don't like fighting at the first order base. There's too many turns, twists, cubbies you can hide in. And so I like what Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual are doing. They're surrounding the position. They're checking everything they can, but they're just not taking too much risk. They know that team, if there is one in there, is going to have to rotate on out eventually. And whether they're waiting there or not, they'll probably cross paths. Glad to see NPen, Zen, and Nut finally in some of these games. I do believe they might have at least 2 eliminations. Yes, they do so far. That's going to be on Zen. And Zen is really taking the community by storm. He's getting a lot of the shine I think he deserves. And I think the cherry on top would be a qualification spot. A little bit of a slow start, though, Monster. 2 games already done and played. They only have 12 points, 6 of those coming from this game alone.
Most definitely. Would that be his first finals on Central? I know he's kind of coming out of this like zone war / like box fight grind, right?
It will be. It would be Zen's first and Nut's second. The experienced NPen. This could be a good confidence boost for them as well going in to the Major 3 Grand Finals. They can secure at least one of those spots, whether through Victory Royale or closing out the day with 3 clutch and consistent games. As Valik, Metro on this side of the map, along with H-Cube, Cyclops. They're just trying to use this. Geyser to try to get distance covered as quick as possible, especially since they don't have too many misforms. They don't have the dash sprites. And instead of going for the double, they're just going for that first Geyser. They believe the zone isn't too far away for them to try to make this in one leap.
That was a pretty cool stat to see. This is a team fighting for their first finals. They've been playing very good so far. 61 points, so they're in the conversation right now for that finals slot. I mean, they're doing about as good as Yusuf Phenom here as well. A little bit quiet. We're looking for any sign of life, but nothing just yet. Yusuf kind of recapping his material here. Being this late into the early game, I'm surprised he's actually not cap material. So a lot of investment into some surge bases being put by that trio there. Meanwhile, enough playing this ultra height. We've seen this time and time again, Jacob. Same song and dance.
And I like how usually kind of with some of these zones, teams will kind of rotate directly where they think zone will go, not necessarily where their drop spot is, but smartly enough, Salt, they land over here towards Shining Span. They saw the zone was kind of hovering over in this direction, and they invested early, immediately building up towards the top. And the thing about the Shining Span Bridge, even though Enough only has 34 builds, you don't have to invest a lot because you could take the railings most of the way up. And since they are contested to start the game, they can kind of do it right out of the gates.
Ruffy's team can make a rotate without having to build here. Misforms coming out. That's the one on their heels. Ralphie just landed on someone. I don't know what just happened. Either someone was trailing behind that team or they either collapsed on someone by the tower there, but Skater's going to be the first to lose his shield here from Aim Red.
That's really good damage by Aim Red in that opportunity. There's so many more teams making Utopia City their home. Probably get like a 2-bedroom apartment over there, maybe a studio. Either way, the zone's pushing everybody in this favor. And for their sake, not necessarily mine. You know I love destruction. You know I love excitement. But I'm hoping it stays over towards Utopia because it continues to pull towards that eastern side. There's a lot of open water. There's the bridge. There's different elevations. And it does look not just Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold, but even Edgy, Chance, and their trio are positioning on this side of the map early on.
Yeah, it seems like Peterbot's hunting for someone here. Checking all the bushes, checking this kind of isolated shrine off on the edge here, just trying to see where is these teams hiding at. But, you know, we saw it best. We saw that map shot. No one kind of went east. Anyone that was there vacated long ago, straight south. Osid, Sineto, Cam, early positioning here on the mountain. This is definitely key positioning for them right now. Obviously, they're coming out kind of the edge here, so they'll likely be fishing for some damage, but 159, just one little end game from them and they'll be just fine for finals.
And it's not just their damage that I'm impressed with right now, with how aggressive even Peterbot was in game 1. It's Cam that is the current elimination leader after 2 games with 11 eliminations so far, 2,100 damage. Osid is there near the top of the list as well. So they're all kind of playing their part rather perfectly. And I like how they just kind of don't get too aggressive. They don't take too many chances. If they got to stay in zone, sacrifice some HP, they have no problem doing that at all. As Peterbot Cold, they might have found him at the edge of the island. 2 different teams here. Edgy using that exotic pistol. If they ever hit them on the low ground, they will bounce them further away. And for someone like Peterbot who doesn't typically use that misform, this might be a way to get some early damage or maybe even a fall.
I'm just thinking in my head, surprise, surprise. Chance, Duke, and Edgy have their work cut out for them this weekend. If they want to get to finals, they're going to have to work for it. Peterbot has that high ground right now. Eyes on the prize here. I'm also noticing, like, Chance's team has not changed their skin, by the way, game after game. So, still rocking that same fit. This is, like, easy spots here for them right now.
He's actually going up. He said, you know what? You want to fight? Let's have it. Goes for the challenge. Chance is there as well. Peterbot closes off on the other distance. He has the medallion, so he's moving just a little bit more fast, a little bit quicker overall, but he gets dropped down. There goes that exotic in action. This is where they have a little bit of a 3v2 if they do want to take it, but Cold has been lurking around, so his position hasn't been fully revealed yet, so no easy goes for now.
Yeah, Duke lost all his shield there too, so forced on the defensive here. Peterbot back to the high ground. They do have a med mist to play with as well. Meanwhile, That one game we thought Sid and Sinetto needed might just be on the line right now. Pay attention, shots coming in from the bush too, so big storylines unfolding everywhere, but give it a second. Peterbot back in the action now. Big tag here. Duke super lit up right now. Cole tracking with that shotgun through the wall. Playing excellent right there. Peterbot with the box up, jumps around, puts Edgy down before he can even react there, and this is all starting to unfold now. I mean, Chance is the only healthy one here.
Well, he's the only one at all now with his teammate going down. There goes the full wipe. 3 straight eliminations, and all the way from Demon's Domain to Brutal Boxcars to The Last Order to Shining Span to Kappa Factory. I gotta see the distance traveled in this game, Monster.
I mean, it was very, very clear that they were looking for action. They were moving everywhere across the map. No one giving them a time worth fighting for them. Josh, Curve, and Tyler on the move right now. Another team has to rotate as well. A little protective builds coming down here, but Tunes team's like, nah, bruh. Just don't shoot. Slaughter sucks. We need to get out of it. And everyone
don't make it harder for us both.
Yeah,
That's the type of thing. But it's really also dependent on how much surge, because if the zone pulling north, right? Even though a few teams rotated towards the south thinking the zone was going to pull in this favor, if not everyone did, they might not necessarily be in the most comfortable position when it comes to that Storm Surge leaderboard. But they are getting beat on the punch up the top of the mountain. Storm Surge disappear. Maybe I was a little wrong. 611, I think that's more than enough surge for now, and really just focusing on that rotation.
Yeah, they have plenty. Tyler was thinking about, by the way, lurking out in that bush for a second there, but they saw the zone and they're like, this is going to move pretty quickly and start taking for a lot of damage here. Kind of getting late into things. Also, I'm just noticing their team's actually A rank as well, so getting those passive support, but it's the second right now. Ooh, big tags here from Tyler's trio, so continue to kind of put the pressure on them. This is what happens when you get beat to the punch on the rotate. When you're side by side like that. No, they might have been passive because it made sense, but now look, you gave them enough runway to kind of get ahead of you, and they're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's Nico and Zabi there on the other side. Not necessarily performing as well as I think they would up until this point, but started this game with 42 points. Every single game so far, they've been able to achieve some points. And we talk about like lack of tournaments and experience in the lobby. They've reached 12 different finals in tournaments this season. That's 3rd most overall, particularly tied with 2nd with Reed Cooper and Curly. Just so far with some of these zones, I don't think it has been favoring them. Then you add in the fact that you run into Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual. That doesn't make the game any bit easier either.
For Sales and Death were a duo just like a couple zones ago, so picking back up Encrypted here, kind of getting back into things from that slow early game start. No surprise that they're below the surge here. I like the use of the laser here in that low ground, but you saw those builds come down and Crypto just took so much damage.
Kind of both sides in a rough spot. The side of the map. This is probably the farthest pool in the lobby. Maybe one other team has it as well, but they're very, very quick to try to get on out of there. And then you add in the fact that you're 68 below the damage threshold. So yeah, you Monster, you might want to focus on rotating towards the zone, but 68 below, you don't want that surge to activate and start taking that 25 damage every couple of seconds or so. Even if other teams can't see it, that you're being affected by it, they will hear that shield crack, and they will get a sense of it as you start to play aggressive.
Keeping from Reed's perspective, is they're picking up some elims right now, and like we said, just throw that first game out, act like it didn't happen. We're starting to heat up right now. Devin Sales can't catch a break here. Sales is gonna fall, has to be left behind. Multiple players in their vicinity. Dash Bobs come out here to try to keep them in, but what a shot! Just shuts down Death, who, by the way, had some HP there, too. It wasn't like he was super weak. Had a little something, so that was a crazy hit. Peterbot, Ritual Cold kind of reap the rewards here. These weakened teams right now.
I was trying to count how many teams, like 3 or 4 possible teams, all just kind of fired off in unison in that direction, basically leaving no chance at survival. Caliber, Aaron, and Fred. They've done a good job in this early game. They got 4 eliminations. You saw above the damage threshold before it does deactivate. And they're not too far away from the current zone. So for them at this stage in the game, they just need to continue to outlast some of these teams. Top 16, 1 team went down. That's placement points 4-2. And every other team that does go down as well, those placement points will start to cascade in. You see Curve, Tyler going down the side of that mountain, trying to use the natural cover of that mountain to shield where they're at.
You know what? They're still in this right now. Holding on right now. As a 2-man operation, still earning points here, Jacob. Pretty impressive, to say the least. They just need about roughly 30 points or so, right? And they'll be pretty much qualified.
Yeah, they've already passed the 2 NA Central group stage totals for the top 5 consistency cutoff. I think be safe, exactly what you're saying. Maybe reach that EU group stage mark just to make sure that you have nothing to worry about at the end of the day. As Peterbot called Ritual, they're trying to build up, steal away the high ground from one side of the zone to the other. They're just trying to make sure that they cement their position in the clouds so no team has a chance to challenge them. And rightfully so, they're using that misform because look at Cold's inventory. Yes, he might have the weaponry. Yes, he might have the Chug Jug, but only 22 builds. If this breaks out into a fight for height, I'm not sure they can hold it.
Refreshes on the menu here. Curly, Reed, and Cooper, though. And a nice little kind of mid-ground layer so far. No one really giving them a problem, so they've got a lot of time to work with. Information being gathered right here. This is cutting straight through the Utopia City, so things are going to get a little dicey right now if you're on the low ground. Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold are going to have a lot of options to pick from right here. Tons of fresh builds are going to have to start to come through for teams that need to elevate up and over. There goes that refresh we were knowing that they needed. Oh my gosh, that guy had nothing, by the way. He picked up like 50 builds that were just generated from the elimination. Talk about unlucky for a second there.
No material, no mobility for him to get back on up, and that might have been a mistake. He went to the backside of zone, and now he has to drop everything. There's no med miss smoke for Cole to get the revive. A disastrous mistake. I don't think anybody in a million years would think that type of thing would happen to Peterbot, and we're seeing it all really play out. He's just going after the elimination onto Curly. He shockwaves himself. Oh no. Who would have thought, Monster? The only way to take down Peterbot is Peterbot himself.
Yeah, you know, kryptonite, as they say. Unfortunate there. Everyone makes mistakes. You know, this is the time to kind of get it out the way, right? Get kind of these grooves, as they say, ironed out here for the finals weekend to come. Curve's still popping off right now. He's going to take down Zen, shutting down things for them. Ritual still has a chance here with Cold, though. They got high ground. They got plenty to work with. Saw Cold pick up those materials, so this is still big. We've been here before. Cold is going to be the one that's going to have to go down with that misform to go in and pick up those maps the same way he did for Peterbot just moments ago. Aaron, Fredbot, and Calipper, though, this is a great game for them. You know, they were kind of counted out after falling a little early in one of these rounds earlier, but talk about getting online right now. Big placement points, plenty of elimination as well, and Sid just clutching up for Sinetto and Cam right now. First it was as a 2, now as a solo. Caught out though by Reed, Curly, and Cooper here.
Yeah, another top 9 game for them. Hopefully that might be good enough to push themselves at least over the 200 point mark. But Curly, Reed, Cooper, 123 points, 7 eliminations. Immediately use that misform to get to the front side of zone. Ritual up top by himself. You said it yourself. Cold is going to be the one that goes on the hunt, trying to bring up resources for them to try to hold on to their position. As Ritual not only finds 1 elimination, but he gets a second one onto Yusuf. Even with Cold getting aggressive, this might be a chance to send him to try to pick up the scraps that are going to be left behind.
That's the one team he's got to look out for. It's actually Reach Trio, fully healthy and dangerous, ready to fight here. Ritual comes down to back up Cold. This is super interesting. I mean, they're truly trying to fight their way to a victory right now, but it's going to come down to taking down Cold's or Cooper's trio here. Fred, Aaron, and Calipper haven't quite made the move yet. They're probably just waiting for that top 3 placement points to kind of come through here. The refresh, they're reset, they're healthy, and kind of ready to go now. Here it is. Other teams misformed to the high ground, so Reed's got control of it. Cold doesn't want to give it up. He kind of fights back, putting on a little bit of resistance there, but Ritual immediately folded over. He didn't want to do that.
Really going for scraps right now. Cold is going crazy, just trying to land some haymaker shots, letting Ritual stagger himself to the backside of the zone, but the heal off for him started way too early. None left in the back pocket, forced down low to the low ground. Cold finally goes down. That one's going to be cleaned up, but Ritual still trying to hold strong. The only solo left alive in this game in a world full of trios, up, down, left, right. He has to make a decision. He fakes out towards the high ground, goes down low towards the bottom, 50 HP or less, and now he's getting forced outside of zone until the inevitability happens. He goes down, the elimination gets cleaned up, but Reet, Cooper, Curly, they realize there's only 2 teams left. One of them stuck to the outside of the zone. The men miss smoke. That's a huge sign of weakness as they're trying to start to heal off early. Curly realizes it's now or never. He dives to the backside of zone, and it's not even needed because Reet, Cooper, and Curly, they clutch up when it matters in game 3 to book their ticket on that battle bus.
Very, very nicely done. Just a slow rolling train. Once they picked the momentum, though, they couldn't be stopped. After that, game 1, game 2 was great. Game 3 now sealing the victory royale. You know what? I want to give credit to Ritual, too. Very calculated decisions by him to try to focus high ground, trying to see if he could bait the low ground team, pull the trigger a little bit early there, get into the fight, into that commotion, if you will, to see if he could steal away a win in the end, but just didn't go his way. Take a look at things one more time. Cooper catches Sid into the cone from that perspective. That looked pretty ridiculous, but here's how it all went down, man. Cooper played some excellent Fortnite. Talk about big tags there, and then to pick up that last victory royale. Well played for him. Match number 3 goes to Reet, Cooper, and Curly there. Zeke, what a game.
Woo! What a game indeed. Let's go, Reet. Woo! Oh, sorry, Zeke. Sorry, I got all excited. It was just, I was in the moment there. But yeah, congratulations, Cooper, Reet, and Curly.
Wow, a Zekeism from Kelly Lee. You love to see it. Man, I cannot believe it. Reet, Cooper, and Curly got themselves the victory royale, and it's just poetic, right? Just think about not that long ago, we kind of talked about them on that ultimate low in a shambled situation. You kind of do the 180 and go like, hey, we've got materials, we've got a loadout that's meant to win. And Kelly, they're just gonna go do that. Like, hey, yo, Zeke, check this out. Watch this, victory royale. See you in Grants.
Yeah, we could see kind of them getting used to the waters a little bit in game 1, and then game 2 they stepped it up, and then game 3 it's when it all comes together. Reet, Cooper, and Curly just played the low ground just so well, and then when the opportunity arose to take height, they did that, and then once again, Vivid, they just played it so cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, this is really, really good for them, right? Obviously, after game number 1, it was like, whoa, a little bit of a slow start. Then they picked it up in game number 2, and then the finally goes out in game number 3 in the fashion that we already talked about that they probably would, right? Coming in today with those 7 wins from the play-ins, they just look like a team that was going to go ahead and get the win. And I mean, look at this incredible stuff. Cooper's got 114 builds in 11th zone. Like, this was their game to win for sure. I mean, obviously, we know there's a bunch of crazy stuff going up on the high ground, which we'll get to after the break, but Curly, Reet, and Cooper taking full advantage of all the things going on around them. They get the win.
Things I love to see. Reet in grand finals, baby. Next weekend is gonna be a dream. Now, of course, with only 2 games left to go, we need to lock in. But first, a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about Peter shockwaving himself into zone. See you in a minute.
Let's take a closer look at exactly how the pros are making the most of the mobility items this season. There are 3 main ways to get around the map, plus 1 bonus method that only a single player can use. Firstly, we have the Surf Cube. This item allows you to surf on a board made of cubes and even boost to go higher up and fly across the map. This item comes with 150 charges, and each surfing session allows you to use 50 of those before needing a 5-second cooldown. While this is a good option for early game or even as a last resort, high-level competitive players tend to choose other options since you're still exposed to getting shot at while using this item. This is why we won't see many players in FNCS using this item unless it's right off spawn or for a desperate last-ditch escape. A favorite amongst competitive players at all levels this season is the Mist Form. It's found all over the map and transforms you into a flock of ravens. Each flight only lasts 4 seconds and has a 20-second cooldown, but the speed and distance you can cover in that window make it one of the best rotation tools in the game. What really sets it apart is that while you're flying, you can't take any damage, not from other players or even the storm, which is why in a heal-off situation, we always see top pro players using the mist form to avoid taking any storm damage while they look around for heals. It's also perfect for making sneaky high ground retakes in the late game. On top of that, many pro players are actually using this item defensively too, escaping box fights when things get chaotic, making this item not just about mobility, but key to survival at times. The final main mobility item that competitive players are using this season are the dashes that can be obtained by throwing down the dash sprite and entering the circle it creates. The great thing about these is that any player in the area gets 3 dashes, so your whole trio can load up with mobility at once. The dashes themselves work very similarly to the underworld dashes from last chapter, except they will not give you full damage immunity, so watch out for that. When it comes to box fighting, some of the elite players are using these dashes to get inside of boxes when they have the upper hand in a fight. When used well, these dashes can really be one of the most valuable assets to any team's inventory. Finally, we mentioned at the beginning of the video that there's a mobility item that only one player can use, and it's Core's Shrouded Striker Medallion, which can be obtained by eliminating Core on the Rift Island. This medallion allows the user to have increased stamina, jump further, faster and higher, partial invisibility, and fall damage immunity. We often see high fragging players like Peterbot and Marius taking this, as they use it so well in endgame to dip in and out of fights, finding eliminations as they do. Sometimes top players even combine this medallion with the dashes to get full damage immunity from those too, making them a force to be reckoned with. Make sure to keep an eye out for these rotation strategies today in the Group 3 games. See you on the battle bus.
Okay, so Peterbot had a little bit of a situation in this game. It was a real like no one makes me bleed my own blood kind of situation with a shockwave grenade. Jacob actually made me laugh really hard when he said no one stops Peterbot but Peterbot. You know, in the heat of the moment, things happen, you know. It's actually really funny. He went into Ozzy's chat and he just typed like, "I'm crazy." It's God, seeing that again. Yeah, look, it's fine. Everything is totally fine, right? Like, I'm not even kind of concerned about them qualifying. They're basically in second place right now. The other two clutch up a third with 11 elims. I'm not worried. It's just funny. It's just entertaining out of Peterbot, which is, you know, it's fine. It's fine, Kelly. It's fine.
I mean, that's what we're here for, right? To be entertained. This isn't grand finals. This doesn't need to be super try-hard, sweaty time. But honestly, Peterbot, Ritual, Colt, they've been playing incredibly well, regardless of what their playstyle is like in the end game. They've been able to claim Rift Island every single game now, and I can imagine that in games 4 and 5, it might be more of the same. But honestly, what's a bit surprising to me, Vivid, is to see Soneto, Cam, and Osid, a team that is regarded a little bit lesser than Ritual, Colt, and Peterbot, above them in the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, they're just playing super well right now, making it to every single one of these end games, making sure that they find themselves kind of in the mix. And honestly, listen, they've been playing super well. So, but you know, we saw them playing, you know, on the high ground, on the low ground. They're showing us that they can play multiple different ways throughout some of these games right now, which is just super impressive.
I also like 7th place, right? Fredbot, Aaron, and Caliper. We saw them in that end game. 2nd place, 11 elims. The game before us, 6th place with 6 elims, and then their first game was kind of like middling, right? Like an 18th with 4, which isn't crazy. But again, if we're targeting consistency, right? We want to make sure if we can't get a victory royale, we can end in that top 5 or top 10 if you want to think about it like that. So I think this is a really great place to be, especially with only 2 games left to go.
I mean, if you're looking at their loadouts too, they're preparing for those end games as well. I think that they might be aware that aggression might not be the name of the game. Even though they do have 2 eliminations, they had something like 17 minis and as well as a few other heals as well. So they're definitely preparing themselves for whatever ending you can get. And although they played that low ground so well, if you have Reet, Cooper, you know, there's just not much you can do in that 3v3.
Yeah, I'm happy that Kelly kind of mentioned that. Yeah, you know, if there's Reet and Cooper on the other side of things, because it looked like Fredbot and Co were kind of chilling in the zone, right? They had the med miss bomb kind of going off, and I was like, are Reet and Cooper gonna kind of be able to handle this heal off right there? And then like I blinked, and then like that whole trio disappeared. And I was like, oh, okay. So even though they're healing off in the zone and they got meds, Cooper and Reed just took the fight to them and cleaned them up real quick. So that was unfortunate for Red Bus team, but still second place. They're sitting very, very pretty on the leaderboard.
Oh yeah, man. We only have 2 games left to go. Guys, this could be it for some trios, right? If we don't make it to next week's grands, we got to fight through the LCQ. That's not the situation we want to be in. With 2 games left to go, what are you guys maybe hoping to see? Or maybe even just advice, right? For any of the trios out there that with 2 games, they either have to get a VR or they might have to have 2 of the greatest games of their career right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about these group stages is that you can have a team that's in, 25th or even lower place, and if they just win a game, they're going to be able to make their way into the grand finals. And a team that I think we're going to be seeing go into the grand finals is definitely Curve's trio right here. It's currently sitting in 6th place, which is 3rd place overall in the consistency leaderboard. Again, one of our low ground kings right now, Vivid. For me, Curve, Tyler, and Josh, they've just, been playing really consistently, but maybe not necessarily the blowout game that they need for a win.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to blow a game, right? 5 games playing pretty well, just like they're playing right now, will definitely be enough. But you know what, Kelly, you're talking about consistency. One thing that we've seen consistent throughout this competition so far is Peterbot getting both the mythics, both the medallions, and then when he went down right there in the storm, Cold had an opportunity to go ahead and mess around with the medallions himself. So I'm maybe a little bit worried for Peterbot because Cold might be like, hey, listen, that was fun, that end game. Can I try out this game?
Ooh, okay. I'm here for it. You know what? Everybody, Rift Island, everybody in the lobby. Let's just go. Let's not do that. With that being said, 2 games left to go before we say goodbye. So, casters, back to you.
We're really coming to the close of the day, Monster, with only the 2 games left that we were talking about. One thing we didn't mention is if any of those teams in the top of the leaderboard get a win, it kind of alleviates the pressure at the bottom side of the leaderboard. And as of now, there's only a 17-point difference from being inside of that bubble and outside.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's really not too many points to be on that top 10 page. So we'll see what has game 4 in store for us. Here we have it. Game 4's kicking off. I'm thinking about those overall points. I mean, who's to say someone can't pull a big 80 or, plus point game essentially and all of a sudden be in this conversation for the top 10? It really is very realistic. This point spread, I feel like, has been relatively even across the board, and it's going to make for a pretty tough top 5.
Yeah, I kind of thinking about it. Obviously, you think about the win, kind of 1,000 points, and any other competition at 65. But even a second place, 10 elims, get you that 80 points that you were talking about. I know it's a rough road getting there, but with a lot of change-ups happening, uncontested Utopia this time around, with Reed, Cooper, and Curly qualifying out of Flooded Frogs, that opens up another drop spot on the map. And already after game 1, 1 team moved over. Game 2, Kappa Kappa, 2 teams moved over. So it only can imagine here with Flooded Frogs, a great POI opened up. Who's going to try to take that chance?
I'm actually surprised, though, that Utopia is uncontested. Typically teams will just stick at the draw spot when they've decided that they're going to contest it. Obviously, this format is a little bit more forgiving, given that, someone can make a different call. But, a lot of times ego gets in the way of smart decision making. So respect to that team for backing off. And hey, Caliper's team is playing very, very well. They are deserving of Utopia City so far, as they've been the victors of the drop. Jumping in with Lulu Minka in all in God's hands, though. Back to the shiny shafts. This is what I talk about, ego, right? Kind of blocking the bigger picture here. They're just fighting this one out game after game.
Yeah, and already you can kind of see 1 elimination on the back of Snake. They're not necessarily going straight in. They're just trying to loot up. If they find him, they find him. If they don't, they don't. Apple's there on the side, all in God's hands, just try to go for a quick spray, realizing the rest of the team is now converging on their location. He tries to back up, but too little, too late. They're all there. They're trying to jump on. Even with Mathematics getting damaged just a little bit, it's just not enough. 3v1, make it 2v1 as he gets at least 1 knockback, but not able to clean up the elimination. They go down without a point.
Maximum pain being issued there. Nice little pickup for them. Quick finish to the shiny fight as well. Back on over to Cam, Osid, and Soneto. Talk about a clutch, man. Losing their teammate so early in the game, running it up as a duo, but Sid really going the distance at the end there just to keep them super relevant and at the top of the consistency page. So this is excellent Fortnite for them. Very deserving of their finals position to come here. But just got to close out strong now.
Just interesting decision here from Metro Stupid and Civ to kind of contest resistance space. It's a great drop, but honestly, I would say go for it. But you're going against a team that's already proved that they have the hot hand. They have 189 points, so they almost have nothing to lose here in this situation, even if they're able to pick up 2 eliminations and then go down shortly after. But Sinedo just going on alert, feeling brave. Full duo is going to be right above him. Fires that shot. That's his position going unknown, but he quickly tries to disengage on out. The whole team is trying to chase him down, realizing this might be the only chance to catch him off guard.
You see someone else kind of lurking on the outskirts here, so looking to play that surprise factor. Sid takes the air here. Bubba doesn't even want to shoot. Not just yet. Got options to pick from here. I'm gonna wait for the perfect timing. There it is. Shots coming from behind. It's gonna be onto Civ. Cam gets bailed out for a moment there, and probably gonna be pretty okay with this turnout here.
It's unfortunate because now they were trying to push Osid's team, but they're stuck in the middle between 2 different ones. You see they have no choice but to try to go right back into resistance base, try to farm up, not necessarily be the team that's poking out over the top. And you see Sebi rotating over. Labuba's inside as well. Everybody here lurking around, but Sebi just got spotted out. Metro's there. That's a lot of information, even if it's only one player being spotted out.
Big tag there off to Sebi. Traded shots though onto Bubba there on the other side of the wall. Bubba, great job though. Finds himself a little elimination here. The knock comes through. Sid throws his teammate off to the side though. Things gonna slow down now. Sid's trio still debating on returning back to this action stuff. This doesn't end fast. It's gonna be really bad for what's remaining of the teams here. I'm surprised they didn't actually finish the fight there. Definitely a little bit of a slow play by them. Probably going to be regretting it here shortly.
Yeah, Civs just took a lot of damage, even with the revive onto Metro. See him trying to just take that top-down approach. Civ gets caught off guard yet again, and so does he. Sebi's in there into the mix. They trade shots back and forth. Another one's going to go down. That's Sebi picking up another elimination. He needs the Siphon to come through, get that HP back up. The Booba's just taking some extra time, farming up that loot. Never knows what's on the other side of that wall, but Sinedo, Cam, and Osid, they've just went all the way around in a full circle to try to hunt down the players they were originally hunting them.
Yeah, likely just stopped, got some minis, picked up some materials, said, all right, we're headed back now. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do here. Secure our qual spot, get these big elimination points here. Sid, though, gave away his drop right there. That little climbing action there, I think, gave the sound effects away.
Yeah, I sure hope so, because it doesn't
here
look like
comes the opener. Oh, the missed tag, though, but Code gets caught up there in the box and fully finished, and this is all the advantage in their favor now. What a pickup, too. Finds the player with the dash sprite, so now it's going to be a major, major advantage for them now. As if having a man up wasn't enough, Cam finds Bubba there, too.
That's 2 straight knocks, and you see everybody else in the minimap dispersing in different directions. They at least want a chance to get the reboot card back, and that means staying alive. And yes, I did see this in the feed. Peterbot is already down and out. Edgy was able to clean up that elimination. They work together. They get cold as well. The pressure is on Ritual to try to survive. He's in a 1v3 situation, using the misform, trying to reposition down below. But Edgy's quick on the chase, and they have the Superman sprite. They're going to melt through these builds, not giving Ritual any time to heal in this situation. His chances there. The bait and switch. They're making sure to keep constant pressure, not even give him a single second to pop the mini. And as soon as he pops the med miss smoke, he can't even utilize it.
Edgy hunting right now. Ritual misforms his way through the side. Can he find an opportunity to go ahead and reset here is the question. Dashes are going to come out, but it doesn't look very good. Moments away now from disaster, though. No time to heal either. Shots have to come through. He doesn't even land the one that he needs, and he's forced to miss. That is interesting. The one counter to the misform is basically someone with triple dashes, right? It kind of moves faster, traverses more distance in a shorter amount of time, and this is it. So, hey, we talked about Edgy, Duke, and Chance. Want to earn it. They're going to have to fight time and time again, and respect to Chance's trio for making it happen.
Yeah, and they really, and when I say really, all caps, underline, bold letters, they really have to make this game count, because how many times they're going to get the opportunity when you're clashing with one of the best, you're getting hunted around the map, and you're able to take him out. Peterbot did not see this one coming. Full trio in a push. That one's easiest, and you know as well as I do, he typically has all of the good loot, so getting him down first was taking down one of the harder players. You're able to steal away resources and a lot of utility.
I love that because, like, even if you could, you know, generally predict the direction a team's in, when you know someone's hunting for you and you just wait it out, that's just like, you know, the hunter gets hunted. So you gotta respect it, like, all across the board, read like a book, and more can you say. This is a tough situation to be in, though. You didn't even have time to celebrate before Tyler, Herb, and Josh show up, and not only are they a team that have shown up, they've been playing very good on the day. 159 points here, so Edgy losing his shield here. It's going to give them even more confident, and they already have the confidence.
And some HP as well throughout it all. They continue to trade shots, though. Back and forth, back and forth. Chance seemingly the only full health player on this team, so he's kind of taken the lion's share of that focus, just trying to fire back when he can, spray out some of those builds, get control. On the other side, you see Edgy and them build some extra space for them to work with. That way, if they do break through the first layer, they have a whole nother one they can back up into. Up until a point right now where Josh, Curve, and Tyler, I'm not going to say they got bored by any means, but now that the dust is settled, the zone continues to move towards the north, they're just going to continue to focus on their rotations. This was nice, you know, get into a little scrap, get a couple damage hits off, and kind of let things simmer, play for the new zone, pick things up later. Cincinnati and Cam, though, continuing to keep the action going for themselves. They just don't stop. There it is. Couple elims away from surely being fully solidified to finals. Cincinnati, Cam, and Sid really showing us that they are deserving of a finals position and standout team here in the Group 3 setting. Oh, I was saying, ran out of dashes right there, Soneto. Just kind of gets cut just there for a moment, but his teammates were able to kind of stop the runaway train. That is Kezzy, able to get the knock and the elimination. Siphon's going to help a little bit for Soneto. Plenty of minis, bigs there as well, and just kind of just add to the fact about how well they're actually playing. Look at what they're going through. I know we haven't seen them off spawn every single game so far, but this is nothing new. They've been contested not just by one, but multiple teams in and around that POI, and for them to be as good as they have been playing, unfortunate couple of mistakes there, but even then, look at that. They're able to get good damage back to alleviate the pressure Soneto was just going through.
Nice little pushback here. Good defensive measures. Plasmafy has to get back that mid miss though. Trying to cap off here. See Soneto Cam have the pressure of the zone too, so this is going to be important to kind of reset right now. See what they can make happen. There goes the dashes for the team. 5-5 trio earns the respect of Soneto. They're like, all right, we're pushing our luck here, maybe. Go ahead and ease out, play for some material right now, and also, I was gonna say, maybe they hit that A rank, but not quite.
Still just got a little bit more to go. That B rank's gonna be enough to open up a couple more of these chests on the outskirts of the north side of the resistance base, and the zone's kind of pulling all the way over here as well. So you got to imagine the team that was brave enough to try their luck at the Flooded Frogs with Reek Cooper Curley qualifying for the grand finals, opening up that as a drop spot, and whoever did Monster, they got that luck of the pull, the zone going in their favor. Soneto, Osid, Cam, they had enough of the contested fights all on the north side of the map. They're just trying to take a slower approach to this mid-game portion. With how much damage they've had, they got to think that they're pretty high up on that Storm Surge leaderboard.
Super important to be there, especially as we start getting into these last games here. Phenom Yusuf. King Peace just trying to hold form here.
Trying to think all of the natural mobility that spawns around here. Sometimes there's a bunker with a rift that you can grab. There's a launch pad just a little bit in front of them towards Foxy, so they don't have to utilize all their dashes or some of those misforms, but it does come with its own brisk flying through the sky. Any teams that are going to be nearby, Plasmafy, Arsenic, and Bluish, rotating just underneath that island. Even though you don't see any teams currently up there, you got to imagine the scraps that could be left behind. Seeing as Arsenic does have bandages in his loadout, you might want to switch those out for a med miss smoke, med kit, or particularly a chug jug if you can find one.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be desired here, but look at that. It's going to leave the lasers behind in favor for the big shield. Look at this Civs team coming right in from the zone. Bluish might have caught wind. Yeah, he's going to actually spot him going into the bush there, and that might just kick things off for Civ. Right now we got a little update with Aaron kind of going back and forth here with Fredbot against another team on the mountain. It's Regrets Crazy, Halakar.
Yeah, 153 points. This is kind of something that we spoke about yesterday. I'm interested to see how the rest of this game plays out for them, but they just need a top 10, a top 8. They'll be within that point range for the top 5. Inconsistency, especially with one more game left after this. But how do you handle the pressure? We saw some teams throughout, not just yesterday, but Group 1 as well, kind of switch up their strategy, play a little bit slower than what got them to that point. And that's why I want to see Fredbot, Aaron, Caliper kind of close out the game strong, continue to build that confidence, especially if you get into that point range threshold where you almost have nothing to lose.
Trades happening here as we start approaching the mid game. This is just outside that Supernova Academy. Smiley visuals saw I am enough. Trying to fish for tags right now. No success just yet. Zest team doing a good job keeping a low profile. There's actually multiple trios there, kind of in the spider's web. Meanwhile, Edgy and everyone else just moving through the brutal boxcars. Other teams starting to move in as well, as the zone's kind of favoring the southern area just a bit right now.
This is a good chance, like I said, when they took down Peterbot and the entire trio, to kind of make something of this game. You don't even have to necessarily win it, but you got to put yourself in contention where you're not forcing yourself in a game 5, winning your end, the only way to make the Major 3 Grand Finals through this group stage. Because you don't want to have to play through that LCQ where only 3 teams, a win in your end. There's no leaderboard to play to in that last chance qualifier, so you want to make sure to close out every opportunity here. Neko, Zavi, and Fishy, them two have been going through a world of trouble up until this point. A few more speed bumps in their road to this point in the game. And I was talking about the experience, 12 different finals appearances through the different tournaments this season, and so far, they just haven't been able to execute on what they've learned.
Good execution right here from Ruby's trio. Dead center right now, big tower, plenty of options to choose from. He should be well in ahead as the surge kind of activates here. 786. Yep, very telling of a team that's got a position like this currently set up.
It's just unfortunate. Kind of get caught off guard, delays down, Hotty's already eliminated, KSM just gets sent back to the lobby with the rest of his team, and that's one team right there, Monster, that's going to have to be in a win and you're in situation going into game 5, but at least they have one more chance, and sometimes all you need is that one chance overall, especially if another team kind of qualifies here in this game, alleviating the pressure at the bottom side of that consistency leaderboard.
Yeah, game 1 showed this, right? Like, anything can happen in the end game. Teams can definitely squeeze out victory royales. Against all odds, it's not going to be easy. Watch this. This is a surge battle if I've ever seen one, as trios just start to collapse inwards on the edge of the zone. Well, at least one thing's for certain, no other third parties are going to be joining here, so they'll just have time to get into some clean fights here. Unfortunate for Batman Vex's team there to actually lose his duo when they just did enough to kind of alleviate themselves from the pressure. And then they fall into the threshold as well, so it wasn't like they really have to rush to it, right? Like, we're at that point in the tournament where things are just moving a lot quicker.
Perfect time to rotate over them. So Jace kind of make that rotation early on. He kind of started off this fight and basically pulled apart. Two different trios throughout this whole situation. With or without Roja, I think they kind of made the perfect play there. And with the zone moving away, I know they probably want to play this one out as a duo monster. It's brutal boxcars. It's not too far, but they could chance it if they do have the heals to try to go north.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they're thinking that. I mean, the markers were out on the map, so we'll see. End up making a play right now. Gary Angel aim red. Southern zone pool right now. All the way just on the outskirts of the brutal here. Between the Lone Wolf Slayer. How much lobby focus? Look at that. Yeah, angles of which all the fires coming in north, south, east, west.
And sometimes, even though like Gary has the DMR, he's not going to do a ton of damage in that spray. As long as you start the lobby spray, even if you don't get the elimination, that's one less player. That's one less team in your path to cross that finish line. Down below, Edgy, Chance, their full trio, just not taking too many risks. They've kind of already did that while taking down Peterbot earlier in this game. So they're just trying to fly under the radar, move and go after eliminations when you have to. It's Caliper, Fred, Aaron. They're just going to stagger themselves back just a little bit. 2 tick into zone 4 now, but they're definitely going to be on the clock. You don't want to get caught in that 5 tick, knowing there's such a massive pull across the map. They do have that med miss smoke that I do think they're going to try to utilize here right before they try to miss their way out.
I'm thinking. Trying to figure out the game plan right now. I know they want a med miss, but this team in front of them, they're pretty much putting a big target on their back right now. But they are in the storm here. There goes the focus shots coming in.
Yeah, that green cloud, the med miss smoke, it's also a huge sign of weakness. Even if you have shields, you might think they're low HP. Edge of zone, you got to get forced back further and further. Soneto, Cam, Osid continue on this freight train of a journey that they've had on the day. 210 points. Top of the leaderboard in terms of consistency. Always finding these opportunities as Happy gets tagged up, not once but twice. The not comes to fruition, and he fires off yet again to clean up both of those eliminations. And that's going to bring their total here to 9, almost reaching that double-digit mark, with still more than half of the team still left in the lobby.
And you know what? Some upgrades there as well. Look, Dash has come out of that. Saw a little med miss there for a moment. So some pretty big pickups on the outskirts and the backside of the Lone Wolf layer. Keep in mind that's natural elevation as well. So they're working their way top down right now. They're not going to have any problems to kind of situate up for potential high ground now with that refresh there. So could be all she wrote. I mean, they definitely have enough points now. They are going to finals. They want to win the game now and give others a chance. It's pretty much up for grabs here.
136. You're kind of seeing like the difference of how players are handling the storm surge, where they're above or below, barely above. 136, even though that can flip at the drop of a hat. They're staying confident, looking towards the backside of the zone where everybody's stacked up to continue to fire shots. They're going up a little bit, falling down, but they're making sure to kind of never really fall below the damage threshold. As Caliper trying to alleviate some of that pressure. As Fredbot, Aaron trying to heal up, but Fredbot's not going to get that chance. He's going to get taken down. That's Curve. That's Josh and Tyler on the other side of those builds. Just continuing to not only steal away control, but steal away as much of that positioning on the other side as possible.
Yeah, very good edits there by Caliper, but they cannot make any risky moves right now. They are too close to the finish line here to drop it now. After this, we will be jumping into the last game of the evening. Looking from the top down, Edgy's trio completely isolated, somewhat center. They're going to have the longest of the rotates here to come. Curve, Tyler, and Josh make an early move here on the outside. Aaron and Caliper, big decisions to make now. Do they use... and I'm assuming Aaron's last misform here, or go with the dash. It seems like they want to dash their way through and kind of reserve what's left of the last misform there.
Typically, this is the last one. You kind of want to save it as a get-out-of-jail-free card. Hope to not get boxed up. 12 above. That's not going to stop the pain from coming your way. As Dox goes down, Jay and Chris are still there. They barely get themselves above the damage threshold, forcing a sacrifice on not one, but both of their teammates to make sure Chris has a chance at survival. 2 teams went down before he did, so at least he got that many placement points before getting sent back to the lobby. The pain all around the lobby can still be felt. The Soneto's already down. Osid popping out his last bit of resource with the med smoke going down. Cam is there behind him, but the full team in front is going to cut them short.
Who's got high ground though? NPen. Zen. Nut. Just, you know, watching from up above. And if there's a time to win, what better time than when Peterbot's trio's not in this end game, who are obviously that X factor to anyone's situation here. They're set up. Not a lot of builds, but they're here.
Yeah, 51 points, barring like a high elimination game in second place. They're almost in a back-to-back win and you're in to try to get that global, or just say grand final spot secured. 51 points, 192. You see all the investment they had in the materials to try to hold on to that position. And they're going to continue to invest. They think there's not too many teams in the lobby that they have to worry about contesting their high ground.
I think it's now or never for them. They're at only 50-something points, right? It's really not that much, and it's either that or chance make another full end game. But look at this, Tyler, Curve, and Josh, they want to put a ribbon on this night as well. They're starting to eye up that high ground, and if you're playing high, you gotta know to start targeting those secondary layers. Do not let them get comfortable like this. So it might come down to being inexperienced here, but we'll see. I see Edgy knocked in the feed there too, so big names starting to fall now. Seen on Yusuf King Peace trying to kind of gather their situation, but they're running low on material. Aaron Fred Calipper is kind of gathering more and more information here. Now they're at the 180 point threshold mark. This is big. Big team jumps into their box. Caliper's left by himself, just trying to end-chow a top 10 here.
Yeah, he has to wait for that cooldown on that misform in order to use it again. His death, he's going to get dropped, sales, and encrypted, forced to change away from those layers. Only dash out when they have to try to grab the materials. And positioning in sort of the front side of zone is Zabi, Neko, Fishy are on a roll here in the fourth game of the day. Better late than never, but it's actually NPen. NPen goes down. They ran out of materials, forced to drop down low, and are getting dismantled one by one.
Yeah, it looked like Zen trying to play a miss. That miss there in the zone. He's going to also fall now to the rest of the zone there. And what could have been a big chance opportunity for them to win a game kind of slips through their fingertips. But look at Calipper go. 1 HP, falls inside the top 10. Way to clutch one out for himself. Meanwhile, Yusuf doing the same for his team. 147 here. He should have actually shot the gun right there and got the potential siphon, but misses his chance to do so. Now look at this, another med miss deep in the storm play here, focusing the high ground team, breaking them off the height, forcing them to start using their misforms. Cyclops dashes on in. This is their chance to go on and go for height, but they don't really have a lot of mats to work with here.
No, they don't. They don't really have a lot of mobility either, as Josh is going to get a knock onto one, gets the elimination, siphoned just in time to try to keep him healthy. Him and Curve are going to continue to use those builds, a little bit of mats to try to maintain their position above. Angel, Gary, Aimred are just trying to dominate down below. They have all the position on the low ground front side of zone, but there's a team behind them trying to heal off. That's Cynics, that's Polar, that's Cirque, and that could be a distraction that they're ready to take as they chop down high ground and go all out, ready to challenge for it. Tyler drops down, doesn't take too much damage. Nobody really contesting from up above. Even with the shot right there onto Tyler to drop the shield down, he's not showing any fear.
Just doesn't get worse for Josh, Curve, and Tyler. They're the other team literally focusing them, forcing them once again to defend their high ground position. Now it's all up to Josh to go back up and kind of reinforce this. The zone's gonna bounce back. The low ground team starts to finally make a move. Curve takes some fall damage, but the misform keeps him alive just for a moment there. 40 HP left there. He can't mess with the zone. Low ground team thinking about going for a pickup here. 3's better than none. They're gonna go ahead and commit to it. This might be the biggest mistake though. They have let Josh full reheal here. Now the high ground team is back in this one.
And there's still a solo. He left long ago, starting to seal off Journey. Josh gets a nice shot onto one, but unable to get the siphon. Curve still alive. 240 on the Chug, and he's ready to ride the zone all the way to the finish. A risk that he's ready to take. The Superman Sprite breaks down high ground for a moment. That's Aimred all the way back. He's much further than I thought, but the elimination, Cirque, that's siphon. That's an extra HP for Curve. Cynics needs to go for this elimination onto Curve. He is a huge disadvantage when it comes to the heals, but Curve is making sure to create distance yet again. Use the medallion, the speed. He gets the elimination onto Cynics. He doesn't know where Aimred is at. He started his heal off long ago, and it's not going to matter. Curve, Tyler, and Josh have qualified for the Major 3 finals, and Monster, they just alleviated the pressure. They opened up a spot at the bottom of the leaderboard.
For it to come down to the siphon, to give him the amplifier, to get that extra HP. Dude, I had no idea. Aimred was so deep in the storm there. It would have still came down to that misform. You saw Curve kind of cycling through his builds there. Pressure kicking in. He's like, wait a second, how's this game not over yet? What is going on? That was an incredible endgame. And so deserving, Jacob. Tyler, Josh, and Curve successfully retook high ground from Zen's trio and MPen there, but also defended against two and then fought in a clean 3v3 on a low ground. What a game.
Yeah, that was definitely just one of those that goes down in the record books as a thing to remember for Josh, Tyler, and Curve. And you've seen how far away Aimred was, but he just started his heal off way too early, left down to just bandages. Curve is able to clutch up and even still had more left in the tank. They're headed to the grand final. Zeke, one game left. What do you got for us?
Holy, oh my, Aimred, what? That was crazy. I love that this is Shadow's old Tyler. So we got to see Shadow compete yesterday, right? And now they pick up Josh and they pick up a victory out in like the craziest way we've seen so far. I'm still just shocked at like the hoops they had to jump through there at the end. And then, you know, just put yourself in the player's shoes there for a moment. They're like, okay, this other guy was just eliminated. It's a 1v1. Who else is left, bro? It's just me. I've got misform. Where are you? And then, of course, we're to come down to those final few moments. They have the chug jug. They're good to go. That means they're moving on to the grand finals. This has just got to be an amazing feeling for this trio.
Yeah, especially like you said, it coming down to the heal off, and in those moments when it is like a 1v1, you see that there's one more player left. You just don't understand exactly where they are on the map. What kind of heals do they have? Obviously, so many players have been eliminated on the low ground. Maybe they found some med kits. But Curve, Tyler, Josh, we heard Jacob talking about it, just how well they played the high ground, even after it was taken away from them, reclaiming it, and then playing the low ground really well when there was just so much action going on. I mean, Curve, Tyler, and Josh, this isn't their first FNCS, although for Josh, this is just his second FNCS finals. So big props to this trio right here, really showing up.
I mean, Josh did an incredible job as well, right? We saw him hand over the meds over to Curve, right? So they knew that we're going to play the heal off in the hands of Curve, and Josh did such a good job of dropping down and making sure the trio was taking some damage down below. So that way the heal off would kind of come in from Curve. But yeah, Curve deserves some insane recognition for that as well, right? Making sure he did damage to every part of that trio that was on the Logan, right? And then instantly recognizing when to stop popping those chug jugs because he saw that the siphon heal started to come in to maximize the heal off. Very, very heads up play for him right there. Super, super clean game.
Those little tech things, right? That's what we like to see. That's like that skill level, the self-expression of Fortnite that you get to see in those moment to moments, so well executed. Guys, a single game left to go. After this break, we take one last ride before we prepare ourselves for the grand finals next week. I don't even know what time's going. We'll see you right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Don't do it. Welcome back, everyone, to the FNCS. One last game to go. Where did today go? I don't know. Guys, that last game was pretty crazy, right? We watched Curve, Tyler, and Josh get themselves a victory royale. Now we'll be seeing them compete in the grand finals, and of course, I'm sure their eyes are set on the global championships and one of the 2 spots available in NA. But there's also a couple other things that happen, and we have to kind of remind ourselves what we're playing for, right? It's a win you're in situation, or we end in the top 5, which is basically the top 10 to move on to grand finals. There's a few trios on the bubble, Kelly, and the fact that one of these trios got themselves a victory royale and pulled the top end of the lobby up means they pull the lower end of the lobby up as well, right? So now we are starting to look at Aim Red, Gary, and Angel. They're finding themselves currently in that bubble, right?
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting to me is that this bubble is quite separated from actually even just 11th place on. Right now, there is a 30-point difference between 10th and 11th place, which 30 points isn't necessarily this huge jump, but in the grand scheme of things, especially as like consistency comes into play here, that's actually quite a big jump for a lot of the teams outside of that bubble to be able to claim. So I'm not trying to say that this is a shoo-in. We already know who's going to be making it into the global champ or the grand finals, but I mean, a lot of these teams from 11th down are pretty much going to have to go for the victory royale.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy stuff right there. I mean, what a clutch game, right? Zeke, we kind of came out of game number 4 right there, and you didn't even kind of give it a reaction to the Curve winning the game. You were like, Aim Red. And yeah, I mean, that's a good shout, honestly, right? Because that second place right there, Aim Red and Co., they were in 18th after game number 3. They only had 63 points. So incredible clutch for Aim Red to kind of go out there and utilize the campfire. And yeah, turning the page here, there's a bunch of teams kind of in the spotlight here. One of them's gotta kind of be Edgy's trio, right? Man, they've been under a lot of heat today from Peterbot's trio, right? And going into game number 5, the question is going to be, is that going to repeat?
It's a tough situation, man. It's a tough, especially with the last game, you know, like you don't want that to happen. But if it is going to happen, they need a plan, right? We also wanted to highlight here, Osid, Cam, popping off. I mean, what in the heck? Soneto alongside of them, 231 points, basically in first place now, right after that last victory. Royale pulling the whole lobby up. They have been very consistent, right? Only having 1 game outside of the top 10. But even in that 1 game, which was a 14th place, they had 10 eliminations. So these guys are going crazy. They're slaying out. I guess my question would be, can we translate this to a grand finals lobby?
It's really hard to say in comparison to the group stages, honestly, because we don't know what like the lobby is going to look like until we do get into the grand finals next week. So although they're playing absolutely incredible today, and honestly they deserve all the praise, they really have been so consistent. I don't think a lot of us were expecting some trios to be more consistent than Ritual Cold and Peterbot. But it's just so hard to say what we watch here today and then what we are expecting to see in grand finals is 2 very different things.
That's so true. Really quick, before we get into the last game, is this it? Vivid, could we see a win from Peterbot? Could we see them finally take it serious and get a victory royale?
I mean, in my opinion, it depends on what they want to do. They want to go for that continued early aggression they've been going for, or do they want to play for the win? Hopefully for the win.
What do you think, Kelly?
I think they're going to get the win. I think they're going to get 20 eliminations. Watch it here happen right now.
20. Okay, well, Kelly looked at my script. Don't worry about it. We're going into the last game of group number 3. Is it Peterbot's game? Let's find out.
The questions have been asked, Monster. Who's going to get this last victory royale? And the implications could be so big. If a team inside that probably has 180 or 4 wins, they will unlock a spot at the bottom of the leaderboard. Game 5 is ready. Let's jump into the last one of the day.
I'm definitely with you there, Jacob. Game 5 is ready, and we are here. We get front row seats, of course, to the action here. And, Zeke had a great question. Is Peterbot going to take this one very seriously and try to pull home that victory royale, or is he going to go for the upsets of the century. Because you know what, if you really think about it, the longer he's alive, kind of running around the lobby, the more likely he is to continue to shut down finals dreams for team after team.
Uncontested yet again, and then that's exactly the case. We saw it in Group 1. We saw it in Group 2. The longer that some of these teams are going to be alive, the harder it's going to be to even just get points. Even if they don't run into you, overall, they're just stealing away possible points. 3 points per elimination. When teams go down inside of the top 17, that's where the placement points start to ramp up. So there's a certain point in the game, depending on where you're at in the leaderboard, you just need to make it that far.
I just love how cold is Fultro. He's just embraced the fun this weekend as we're getting into things. Arsenic, Plasmafy, and Bluish had, you know, some of their best showings in the last 2 games here. See what they can do now. Is this going to be somewhat of a miracle comeback run for them as we approach into game number 5? Do keep in mind, too, it kind of started off contested on the day, right? Like, things kind of changed game after game as teams qualify, spots open up. Gam, Sid, and Soneto, one of those few teams that have definitely gotten enough points now to also have a seat at the table. What if Frogs had how many teams here? Hold up.
I'm just laughing because Osid and them basically had every single person here at their drop spot. I think players realize, oh no, wait a minute. Soneto, Cam, and Osid, top of the leaderboard in consistency. It'd be crazy for us to challenge them again. They looked at Flooded Frogs. It's a wide open spot. 1, 2, 3, and even a 4th team if you count just towards the east, all landing on this side of the map. There is a Spire that lands here as well. So even if you do not take the fight right out of the gate, this is, I feel like, going to be such a drawn out situation that is kind of meant for a third party to come crash this. Soneto.
That is true. I mean, this is just ripe for the taking. But you know what? If you allow a team like, you know, Kaji there to jump on that shrine, that you might as well just let them have the Spire, get the big turnout and call it a day. Cryptic Sales and Death, though, at the north side here, not too far off. Already pushing out some of those other teams that might have had those misfortunate drops.
It's just kind of tough because they're in a situation with only 66 points so far. They either need a monster second place finish with double-digit plus eliminations, or they just simply need to win out. Back-to-back games so far, though, they've had this Spire at their disposal, and not only it's going to get them loot, you see them looking off in the distance for Surge, they're also going to get the superhero experience from that Spire. So this could, in theory, be a very, very good start for them, and you kind of see the edge of the zone towards the north. They're kind of getting a hint of where it needs to go.
Look at this thing. What is Redbot using the vent to build a super base here in a second? Kind of cool to watch in the early game, actually.
Saving some time. You can kind of see now that they're uncontested the past 2 games, they're kind of spreading out more and more and more, covering more ground. Even one of them, I believe it might be Caliper, just rotating all the way towards the northwest of Utopia. Another Spire lands over there, so they're not only trying to set up their bases for their Storm Surge here, center in the map, but they're also trying to take that XP away, all the extra loot. You know, they're going to toss it over and try to consolidate into one spot.
Yeah, and that's the difference when you have the drop to yourself. But in this little second here, Arsenic just completely rose up on Math here. He didn't even see him, hear him, or have time to react. Bluish, Plasmafy, Arsenic, like we said, just finding their stride. It's a little late in the tournament, but not too late, as they're at the 6-digit threshold now.
Yeah, I think they started maybe 30, 40 points down away from where that bubble needs to go. So they give themselves a good fighting chance. And this is a team that's kind of inside of that bubble already. Phenom, King Peace, Yusuf. And this kind of goes to the mental games that we were talking about. How do you play in the last and final game of the day? Depending on how good you are as Bluish, they're going after that tower. They want the eliminations. They don't want to just take chance. Maybe they make their way in through consistency. They want to make sure they give themselves a fighting opportunity by getting 3 points per elimination here.
Seems clear they want to play for an endgame and like a double-digit elim game. Like they're playing very, very aggressive, and you know what? I respect it because it's off to a pretty decent start already. They have that 1 elim, so they know this is, you know, a fractured team to say the least. Bluish got kind of control of the side. Here it is. Sneaks right around Snake there. Another secure elimination. All you gotta do is get the last one now.
Yeah, I don't even really see anybody either in the surrounding area, rotating in from resistance base, nothing from flooded frogs. So they have all the time in the world to finish this, and 71 more damage coming out from Bluish. Apple's not getting any time to heal. You can see him trying to drop that med miss smoke, but seconds too late. They're going to clean that one up. 3 eliminations, 9 points to start this game off, and what I feel like most importantly on top of that is the storm surge they were able to get.
Yeah, they're off to a super hot start right now. If they can just get another team elim kind of early, it'll be set up for a good endgame run to the top here. Cube, Belex, Cyclops, pressure's on right now for this team to make their first finals. They're one of the several right now in the running.
Yeah, I just saw 200 pump and jumper just trying to get out, using those dashes, trying to create distance. He's getting chased down. I think he has some help once he's able to make it over the side of that mountain. But right now, nobody's really trying to lend him the helping hand. That's Resi's there, but he's trying to play the just in case things go wrong. I can play the reboot card, but finally his position is going to be revealed. Chris pushing forward, but there's a whole other trio leaving Crime City, trying to lurk and shadow them all along the way out.
Hello,
Play the edge of the mountain here, get that high ground elevation, possibly.
There is legitimately 69 dudes left, bro.
The other team
Who's getting this picture?
Fights continue though for Edgy and Chance here. They gotta keep the fight right now.
Has Peterball even won a game though?
It's only top 25.
I really don't know.
Yeah, relatively early too.
Let's go check.
Murby's one of those teams to, I know it was up until game 3, game 4 already passed, but they really weren't taking too much storm surge ticks, so they've always been on top of storm surge, and it's because they've had so much space over here towards Lone Wolf Lair. No team is really kind of interrupting their game plan up until now. For Edgy, Chance, and their trio, even though they're disengaging away from this spot now, you're kind of putting a wrench in the game plan, slowing it down, maybe 1-2 steps slower. Kind of forcing them to try to change things up, especially with the zone pushing further and further towards the south. And you kind of see there on the edge, Crime City, Foxy Floodgates. It has a big pull towards the southeast overall.
Little update on Aim Red after that monstrous second place surprise heal off there. Putting them very much in the conversation. And that's what one game can do. Can really just put you up there. That's why I can't count out anyone that's really trying to go the distance right now. Any of these teams can make something big happen. I think every group actually had some pretty close encounters. Some lucky scenarios go down for some.
Especially a little bit towards the end of the game as King Peace is already down. Yusuf, Phenom. It's a must to try to disengage out of here, and it looks like they're making their way over towards Demon's Domain. And this is where you got to be careful. We know that Peterbot's kind of been on a wild kind of journey, road tripping around the map, trying to hunt out Edgy, Chance, and the trio, and try to get those eliminations. So you almost think, if you think the way the trend of the game has been playing, it might be a smart decision to go back to Demon's Domain. There might be a lot of space and even scraps to find once you get your teammate back.
Hot chat. Came fishy from the brand new first order base, whatever that thing is, POI, bro.
Kind of taking form here. Back to Maribi's team, so Lone Wolf Lair obviously had a little bit of action for them with Chance and Edgy's trio, but now going towards the Supernova, so kind of opting to play into this storm here, possibly thinking of course, trading things in for the Spire here for these upgrades, but I'm curious because that's not a full team at the Supernova. It's actually a multiple of teams seems to be rotating through there.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's one of the best drops on the map. The original team that landed there is still there as well. Team's just trying to find whatever scraps are going to be left behind, especially since, you know, Spires, you could take that rail, boost yourself all the way to brutal box cars. You're able to cover distance while saving some of that rotational utility. So it's just kind of a hot spot, so to say, especially at this point in the game, what it is pulling towards the south. You see the edge of the zone just north of Shining Spans, which means it's going to continue to pull towards the south, even the eastern edge. Utopia City. There's a lot of space over on this side of the map, and that's exactly what they're trying to use it. They're fighting against Phenom. Phenom's at 150 points. If he buys the last one live, they have to sit and watch, and hopefully the point threshold favors them, as Phenom just a sliver of HP. He finally goes down, but that's good. Give me a breath of fresh air here. Him going down, which means his teammate is at least still in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I doubt, you know, they have enough. I think I was gonna say it was 150, so like they got a long way to go. Probably at least 15 or 20 points. That's being generous if it doesn't push very high. It seems like Peterbot, Ritual, Cold kind of sitting on that 182 line right there. Almost the gatekeepers, if you will.
Peterbot is just being such a nuisance with that exotic. Even if he's not landing damage, just kind of discombobulating, hiding some of those audio cues. They get that first elimination so far. Moving closer and closer to the north side of the map before they make a whole 180 turn, trying to go right back towards the zone. They have more than enough heals. They got the extra dashes on the ground, so mobility and even HP is not going to be a worry for them in a long time.
There's no pressure in sight for them right now. They are cruising their way through this game. Couple more elims and will be definitely up towards the top. Take that momentum into endgame. The bigger picture here. A lot of teams still inside the zone trying to make their way south.
How is everybody still supernova?
Gets fresh rebooted.
Like
Jace and Possessed did their best to try to get their teammate back in the game. Immediately gets hunted down by Chris J and Dox. Only 100 points of damage, realistically, for their Storm Surge, but they got their second elimination, 109 points.
Not.
Still got a mountain to climb and a long journey ahead of them, but they're going ahead and kind of easing up off all that pressure with each and every elimination that they get. Each and every team that they do take down does look like Void just kind of taking that railing, trying to boost himself to brutal box cards. Whether or not he has the reboot card will be a different story, though.
Bluish, Plasma Fire, or Cynic. In a nice outskirts rotate after getting all those elims kind of early on. Looks like N-Pen's going to be found in the feed there to the hands of Zavi. So the dream for Zenning crew might be out the window. Team Nut still alive, kind of hiding out in the base. Yeah, all the teams are going to go on and disengage though. Seems like not too much attention showing up here. Sales desperate to make a rotate here and now. They need to get a med miss down now.
Yeah, another one fresh off the reboot. Cynics is going to go down. For them, that's an easy cleanup. The most important part about that cleanup, you see Death's HP going back up because of that siphon. There's a huge lack of HP in the overall inventory, and that's exactly, they're going to box up Sales. They have no choice. Let him go down. Encrypted still healing, finding some crucial bandages for their journey. Even with the revive going back on up, the big thing for them is how far away the zone actually is. We know the safe spot is just not too far away, but where do they actually need to rotate? Because if it's close, I'm not too worried about them. If it's far, I'm gonna start shaking a little bit.
I'm surprised they didn't start, like, honestly misforming sooner. They could have gotten a little bit more distance out of their positioning and probably not even fallen in the first place. But you know, things kind of work out either way, given that they caught an elimination, got a couple extra bandages. So we'll see how this ends up playing out now. Dash Bright's coming out here as well. Another team playing the zone right now. Polar. Cirque here. We saw Cynics fall to the hands of Peterbot's trio. They didn't really have full visuals on this entire team here. The team med missing there. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's Zavi, Neko, and Fishy. Sales in them, they just kind of didn't wait whether they saw him or not. They're just focusing on their rotation with a lack of heals. They have to make it a primary focus. The other team, not so much. You saw double med miss, med kits in the inventory. They could stagger themselves back for as long as they want. So hopefully the zone doesn't pull too far away. You're seeing Rainbow Fields kind of in the center, so that might be the blessings they were looking for. Sineto, Cam, and Osid just kind of hunkered down in one of these houses. They don't want to give away too much of their position, especially since you see they're separated as individuals, trying to cover more ground and get as much information as possible.
Ritual. We're moving there in the distance.
So we know they have Demon's Domain, Mythic Spire. Wondering if they were able to get the medallion on top. I gotta imagine so. As King Peace does go down, them Yusuf and Phenom still trying to get that revive train, get back into the game. We said it yourselves early on, 150 points might not necessarily be enough. 185, more so the case if Yusuf goes down in the feed as well. Hopefully Phenom was able to stay alive.
Yeah, that is the question for them right now. Who's gonna pull out that last game stretch for consistency points? This is the time when it matters most. All that pressure on the shoulders for some to make their first potential grand finals.
Basically.
Any one of these teams in the 90s to the 100s can definitely still do it. And we talked about because Peterbot's team is in this game, they're going to end up, kind of affecting the way things are going to play out in the end game. So this
need to know how.
Still can very much be favorable for few. Their competition gets, potentially taken out a little early. Teams that want to make their first right here. Vlex, Cube, Cyclops already at 146 right now.
And they were essentially the line. Obviously, if a team above them wins, they kind of move up that spot. But as of now, in terms of 5 teams on that leaderboard, they are the team in 5th place. 143, only 2 points difference between them, AimRed, Gary, and Angel's team. So essentially could come down to just one elimination difference as Nuts finally getting chased down. Not sure if he was able to get any of those reboots back onto NPen and Zen. So this is a lot of pressure on him as a solo, especially with his own continuing to pull towards the south side of the map and them looking like they want to get aggressive in this situation. But it's all about how long they can stay deep in the zone. And Nuts definitely on a timer himself. He has no extra HP, less than 60 overall, no resources to grab. He has to try to get this one elimination onto Jay, separate while he can. The shots can be fired. 2 ticks, so he's on the clock. Bro? Couple of seconds is all he has left, and Nut does go down. Him, Zen, and NPen will have to play through the LCQ.
I wouldn't be surprised if this team doesn't even make it out. Not only to, the 5 tick, but I was thinking just Storm Surge might just turn on. We are at zone 6 and they're still in the zone here. Yeah, reality kind of kicks in for everyone, and it just makes you wonder why stay around for one player that long. Unfortunate for them. They had a real chance. Multiple teams runs coming to, and now this is the last game here and now. Anyone that wins is going straight to grand finals. After that, it's all about consistency.
I was talking about that one team that was basically the lying Cyclops, Cube, and Vleeks. Well, this is the team that is 2 points shy of that. AimRed, Gary, and Angel, and they're positioning pretty well, trying to play to their game plan, to their strengths, not taking any big fights early on, not taking any big risks. Let the lobby kind of do that to each other, especially with still some big names here. Some of them still in the game. Osed, Sedetto, and Cam being one of them. One of the more aggressive teams that we have in the lobby so far, Skater, Murby, and Ralphie. So the least amount of Storm Surge ticks out of every team in the lobby, and you're seeing how they're doing it. They're just constantly pressuring teams. They're constantly getting Storm Surge and cleaning up these eliminations.
Saw a little glimpse too of Edgy and Chance just as a duo, kind of a lot. I'm actually curious how many points they might have. Get to keep a pulse on them of whether or not they have a chance to make top 10 essentially through consistency. But this is an end game, so placing points will start being rewarded here. This is where it really begins to matter.
Yeah, this is where it's going down just one placing too soon, one elimination short. Could really tell the tale of your season in the group stages. The Cynics Polar. They're having to do this one without Cirque. There might be a small chance with a couple reboot vans nearby, but I'm not sure it's worth the risk. It's basically a beacon letting everybody know where you're at and what you're trying to do. As it continues to pull towards the southeast, Monster, if you kind of look at where the zone is at now, more than half of it has some open water, not much land for them to kind of set up at.
And Group 1, Day 1 right there. Little outpost enclave endgame action here. This time, though, big portion like you mentioned, is in that water is going to make it basically unplayable. So this is going to be huge congestion that's going to start taking form here. And that's going to affect things a lot. 48 players in the game. Look at that packed player count right on top of one another. You even have the southern teams like, I don't like this little bit of landmass. Let's get into the rest of the action here.
Oh, and six
this
needs
is
to do
good
exactly
or
that.
tougher for the duos.
Below the threshold, kind of seeing Toons and team. They're like, please come over here, pull towards the southwest. We need this. The only team on that edge of the map, so it's gonna be very, very treacherous, yes, as it pulls all the way over. The timing's of the essence for them. They have an extra landmass over towards the north. They can try to get to that and then try to cut across before every other team. You're seeing everybody trying to make that rotation first. Fredbot's going to go down 192 points. They've all but sealed their deal. Maybe make it safe, get over 200, but they quickly use that misform to reposition ahead of the path of a lot of these teams. One of the farthest pulls in the lobby, and you're seeing so many of them still busy on this rotation.
Gotta go east here. The Caliper, Aaron. You know, they're just like sitting on their edge, like thinking if they made it or not just yet. 190 surely has to be enough, but you never know until it's all said and done.
Oh no.
Oh, look at this. Chance ends up falling. So I wasn't sure if they actually had Dukes alive. Edgy jumps in the box, tries to actually fight him. And Aaron comes out of nowhere, but Edgy was quick enough to react there. And Peter Bot, once again, somehow finds his mark when it matters most. Now, Edgy being hunted here. The dash comes through. Looks to try to catch him up, but shots come in, and Peter Bot's caught off on the outskirts. But look at the strength of the medallion with the dashes there. Somehow bails himself out.
I can't believe he just survived that, but he saw that he got the elimination on the chance. He knew Edgy and the rest of the team was going to be nearby, and he kind of just played for it. He did all or nothing. Now the Medmus smoke going down. Hopefully they do have that misform, because that's going to make it easy for them to close the distance. Maybe they have the dashes. I know Peterbot doesn't have much. Maybe a cutback of the zone. The implications of this could be huge, because they already got their spot near the top side of the leaderboard. I know we're predicting a big win, but so far it's looking bleak.
Well, you know, very few teams are going to have like 4 Medmis in their inventory, so they are one of the ones that can actually make a full recovery inside of the storm right now. And Cole is known to carry that misform, so I think they are still in this game. But give it a second. High ground starting to take place here. Fabio, Kyrie, Chef looking pretty good right now. Just a shot shy of an elimination right there. Could have been a huge recovery opportunity for them right there. But look at this, going back over this kind of water in this low terrain here. So it's really going to open up high ground to be even more susceptible to kind of be secured for them right now. And Aim Red clutching up Jacob.
So I wouldn't wish this onto anybody. Literally the line trying to hold on to it from below the storm surge threshold to right up above. Even Edgy getting taken down. The full team sent back to the lobby. LCQ they go, but Peterbot having to ditch Cold, leaving him out to dry. Repositions the front side of zone, waiting for Ritual to catch up. Red has a lot of pressure on his shoulders to continue to try to get at least a few more placement points. Top 11 situation. He goes up above, flying high, all or nothing, but drops right back down. Saw Cam, saw Sinetto, saw O, said, nope, never mind. Let's try to figure out somewhere else to hide. There's only one build left and a ton of pressure on his shoulders.
165 points here. Peterbot just ran right past Red. Luckily, he didn't ask for any action there. O-Seed, Cam, and Sinetto want to close this one out.
Hold up. Peterbot's still in the game. If Peterbot wins this.
Manage to pull this through. This will open up the standings for others. Peterbot's obviously got
He's
the
W.
that are just
I don't know.
shocking players off.
Peterbot's knocked! Cold knocked!
Things are going to end up all onto the hands of Ritual. They've definitely got enough points, but
It's just Ritual. It's just Ritual left. Bro, we are inside of the worst spot in the world. We're gonna be at the water. GG's.
Trying to make his way through that, possibly getting tagged up. He's gonna buy himself a little bit more time, maybe find an alternate route to try to
Oh
go
my
through
gosh, it's literally sewn. That's turtles or
close
something.
to cracking that 300-point mark, really making a statement as Toons quickly getting targeted out, forced to use his misform.
What is this? That is the worst spot ever. If you're high ground, no.
Separated. Camp's ready to finish the job. He's gonna be one playing disruptor for the team on high.
HQ final eliminations right now. Cyclops and VLAX break 200 points, and it looks like they have done it right now. Talk about a celebratory finish right here for them. Coming into game 5 right now, riding this all the way into a top 5. But you have enough, Salt and Smiley just still holding on to the dream. So this is really going to come down to their performance right now. How badly do they want finals? Can they get a piece of these 11 players, 10 players now standing? They need the elims.
Yeah, some are sitting, waiting, watching for this one to play out because they don't have control over their destiny. But they are one of the few teams that do. They just need to continue to.
Oh, I see. Rachel's dead. Well, imagine enough wins. Wait, imagine if I have enough wins. The team, and enough teams win. Because he's top 3. Yeah, they're all alive.
Consolidating all the heals onto one player as the just in case when the heal off happens. Down below, they're trying to do the same thing, making sure they have the miss form, making sure they have the chug. 3 medkits as well, but the clash is inevitable. They trade shots, downs on each one of these teams.
Wait!
He goes down as well.
Their entire teammates are dead. It's just enough.
Alive, but his chances at winning went out the window. Cyclops finds
enough is in the water.
All of those heals, while enough is doing what he can to stay alive. Leaks is down below. That could be the elimination to give him more time with the siphon.
Oh my gosh!
Elims right now. He needs to secure himself those last points, but I don't think he found them.
Who's winning?
And it really is gonna go the distance. I am enough trying to run his way back, seeing if he can actually heal his way through this.
Wait, does he have medkits?
48.
Oh!
No, enough. Didn't put the wall up.
Cam, you're dead, bro. Cam, you're dead.
Finds himself a med miss and some extra heals too, so. That's gonna be all she wrote.
Oh my god, it's heal off. It's heal off. It's heal off.
I think Soneto's got this so long as his map was good.
No, enough died. GG's Cam's team.
Go straight to finals.
I had to do a double take there at the end, looking at his
GG's, bro.
Med kit, med miss smoke. Another chug, cape.
G to the G.
That's how hard he went to make sure they got that win at the end of the day. They played perfect.
Well, enough still did good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
And when it came down to it, they didn't even need it because they closed the day with a win. That has to be confidence at an all-time high going into grand finals.
By and far the best team, just consistent, and then of course taking the win there.
Yeah, I'll be live again in 30 minutes. So yeah, chat, thank you for watching. Hold on, I'm gonna redirect you guys to
when it really mattered. You know,
although that was an insane heal off
for the win there. Soneto, Cam, and Sid also do something significant here, Jacob.
I'm gonna
they open up the standings.
My second live stream in 30 minutes, you know.
No, rightfully so. I was looking at the bottom of the leaderboard. Cyclops, HQ, Fleeks, we got Aimred, Gary, Angel, Neko, Fishy, Zombie.
Oh man, chat,
we're on the bubble trying to figure out, even become mathematicians, how many elims, how many placement points. But that's gonna do it from myself and Monster D-Face for the group stages. I'm gonna throw it to Z because we need to know who's going to finals.
Thank you so much, Jacob and MDF. Fantastic.
Join back in
on
29
the day. My oh my. 5 games down. And now here we are. We know who'll be going through to grand finals. And now we also know who's going to be pushed through to the last chance qualifier. For Soneto, Sid, and Cam, though, a victory royale in game 5 is actually really big. And Jacob already called out why, right? The fact that if these guys at the top got themselves a victory royale, once again, we're pulling the lower end of the lobby up 1. That means some trio out there, and I already know who, is going to get themselves that extra spot and secure a spot in grand finals. But
that's good.
Casters already called
nice game, you Medale. All right, drop.
I mean, they are just consistent. They've been consistent. They're treating this like a finals lobby.
I'm gonna go now.
What's really
Thanks for watching.
Group stages, right? Is to really refine. Though the games, obviously,
I'll see you guys in 28 minutes.
Be a little bit different.
Yeah,
the caliber will be a little bit different. The pressure will be a lot more. I think it's still really
you had a
important.
Candy Medale, but I got stolen.
This
All
is
right, man. That's
kind of
sad.
finals.
I'm gonna try. Bye bye.
Thinking